Before the video starts, check out the official Discord with the links in the description down below or on the screen right here for mobile users. We are a fast growing community, and if you want to join and speak to new people about the anime that we all love, or speak to me personally and get custom perks, check out the Major Dragon Discord and join our growing community within the Dragon Force. Now let's get on with the video. Before the video starts, I wanted to thank each and every single one of you for over 30,000 subscribers. If you guys did not make it to the stream, I was able to reach it live on stream. It was a very special moment, but thank you every single one of you. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you so much for the support. Our new mini goal is to reach 40,000, but the big goal is I want to try and reach 50,000 by the end of this year. So if you guys have not subscribed to this channel, please, it only takes 1 second, and you can always unsubscribe later if you want. But make sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's try and reach the goal. If you guys have any other accounts that you guys do have, you can also use those to subscribe to the channel as well. It helps me out more than you guys can even imagine. And also watching the video all the way through. Thank you all so much. We all achieved this together. We are all a family. This is the Dragon Force. And I hope you guys enjoy the video. Dragon Ball Super is an insanely looked upon anime for their conspiracies and kind of judgment. Now, what do I mean by this is because of their power scaling has been really judged upon. One of the biggest inconsistencies is the Universe 6 Saiyans, where even some of the beings like Kaba, we can respect Kaba's power growth. While he unlocked Super Saiyan like it was nothing, all Vegeta had to do was then threaten him, and he was able to become a Super Saiyan immediately. But at least he had some character growth. The other characters such as Caulifla or Kale having a tingle in their back and then they just turn into a Super Saiyan. I know that Caulifla is a freak of nature in her Saiyan heritage, but still, that's ridiculous. But we are going to look at their biology. Now, for some people who live under a rock, what is the difference between a Universe 6 Saiyan and a 7 Universe Saiyan? What's the difference between the two? Well, they are yin and yang. While the Universe 7 Saiyans that we all know of that were killed off by Frieza, and the main ones are Goku, Vegeta, and Broly and such, these Saiyans were actually the opposite of Universe 6. These Saiyans were brutal, brash, and a little bit evil. They were fighters and they were basically pirates and criminals taking over planets under Frieza's rule. And they didn't mind doing it because they love fighting. While the Universe 6 Saiyans are a little bit different. They're actually the opposite. They're actually heroes in their universe. They actually protect and serve the universe, basically being kind of like officers and peaceful people protecting the universe. And even their looks are complete opposite of Saiyans. Saiyans are usually very muscular, large in size. The Universe 6 Saiyans are actually skinny and very small. And the biggest characteristics is they don't have a tail. The Universe 7 Saiyans are most known for their tails. They use these tails to transform into a great ape when there is a full moon or a fake moon is there. That increases their power tenfold. Universe 6 Saiyans, they don't have that ability. They were never born with tails. They're also very different as well, as they even have families, and when a Saiyan is very injured, they're even allowed to retire. While Universe 7 Saiyans, they're not much a family oriented. When the child is born, the parents have little care for them. They then send the child out to other planets. They don't really have a care for family. And if a Saiyan is injured in combat, a lot of Saiyans see that as disrespect because they were weak, and they kill them. We saw Vegeta do this to Nappa as well, as this is a normal thing. They're not allowed to retire. That's not a thing. A Saiyan either dies in combat, or if you're too weak, you are then killed off. That's just the way the Saiyans worked. So as you can tell, the Universe 6 and 7 Saiyans are very different between each other. Now, what if Goku had the biology of Universe 6 Saiyan? Now, the Universe 6 Saiyan, from what we have seen, does have better potential than the ones of Universe 7. As we saw, even the likes of Kaba, who, again, didn't really know what a Super Saiyan was, the Super Saiyans were not a thing, he was able to unlock it very easily. He just had to be pushed pretty well by Vegeta. Vegeta just threatened to go kill his family, which I know sounds pretty bad, but still, we've seen people gone through worse, where we actually seen Goku see his friends getting killed right in front of him, and he was also pushed physically beyond his limit to him to go Super Saiyan. Vegeta nearly died, and he gave up. Same with Gohan, and etc. But now, we're not comparing half Saiyans, since half Saiyans are very different. And in reality, half Saiyans are a lot more like Universe 6 Saiyans, funny enough, with their more peaceful nature, and they are naturally higher in S cell count. S cells are used to transform into Super Saiyans, now mind you. Depending on their spirit and their body, they are able to have higher S cells. That's the reason why Goku unlocked Super Saiyan earlier than Vegeta, because Goku's mind and spirit was higher. And that's the reason why half Saiyans such as Gohan and even Goten later down the line was able to turn Super Saiyan so easily, and push further than that. But now, what if Goku had the Universe 6 Saiyan's biology? How powerful would this version of Goku become? Well, we're going to look right into this video, and I hope you guys enjoy it. As Bardock would still sacrifice himself to make sure that his son shall live, as he still fought off against Frieza, and as we know, Frieza was too powerful, and the supernova would completely incinerate planet Vegeta. But now before Goku was sent off, and right before the events of Frieza destroying planet Vegeta, Bardock noted on how his son was very different. He had to sneak his son off away with Gine and send him away to Earth. And the reason for this is because Goku was actually going to be killed. And the reason for this is because he didn't even have a tail when he was born. They saw him as a mutated freak, and he wasn't right. And Goku's power level was abnormally very high for his age. It was a couple hundred. And Bardock thinks that his son could be special, and he doesn't understand why Goku has a tail and why he doesn't have one. But he notes on his high power level, and he can see the future, and he knows that his son will defeat Frieza one day, so that's when he's able to destroy the scientists before they kill Goku, and help him escape with Gine. So just to kind of explain, how would they react to Goku not having a tail? Goku would have probably been murdered, as Saiyans are not too normal against doing that. They almost killed Broly, and even in the movie, they stabbed Broly as an infant, so it's, yeah, they're a pretty brutal species. Goku was still sent off to Earth as Bardock and Gine sadly passed away, only leaving less than a handful of Saiyans left in the entire universe, a lost race of brave warriors. Now Goku would still be found by Grandpa Gohan, and yes, Goku would still be a little bit crazy, but I don't think he would be as brashful as you guys think. I think Goku would be more like his normal Goku self, without the need of hitting his head. As we know, Universe 6 Saiyans are extremely peaceful. They are actually a good race. They're the complete opposite, the yin and yang of Saiyans between each other. And that is the reason why I think Goku is not as evil. But I still think that Goku would still fall and hit his head. But since he is much stronger, I don't think the damage would be as severe. Now, this didn't really change Goku's attitude, so Goku is still the happy Goku that we know and love, because naturally he is going to be like this anyway, being more of a Universe 6 Saiyan than anything else. Now, Grandpa Gohan does note on how powerful Goku actually is. Having a power level of a couple hundred is extraordinarily powerful in early Dragon Ball. Even in late Dragon Ball, if you had a power level of a couple hundred, you are like the top tier fighter in that show. So, yeah, that goes to show you how strong a couple hundred power level is in Dragon Ball. So, Goku would still grow up, and a few years later, unfortunately, would he turn into a great ape? No, if you guys remember, he doesn't have a tail. So he would never turn into a great ape, and he would never accidentally kill Grandpa Gohan. Now, of course, this would mean that when Bulma, who was on her summer vacation, is searching for the Dragon Balls, she would then meet Goku and discover that the sphere that he owns is actually the 4-star Dragon Ball. Now, this, of course, surprises Bulma, as she would also meet Grandpa Gohan, who does invite her in for some tea, as he was a peaceful old man. Now, Goku does have a couple more years to train under Grandpa Gohan, so I even believe that he would be able to learn abilities such as the Kamehameha Wave. This is because Grandpa Gohan actually has learned this ability. It's even in video games as well, that Grandpa Gohan can use the Kamehameha Wave. Why can't Goku learn this? As Goku was able to learn it instantly from training and seeing Master Roshi use the attack the first time. This is when I think that Grandpa Gohan would still send Goku off with Bulma, as he knows that this is Goku's destiny to then go help her find these orbs, and it'll help him explore the world, as he believes that Goku is more than ready to defend himself and to be a well-mannered boy. Now, Goku does have a bit better manners than he does in the originals, so he's not as goofy when he's around women. Although this is the first time he's seen a girl, he's not as innocently doofus as he originally was. But now, Goku and Bulma would still meet Master Roshi, and they would still give him the 3-star Dragon Ball and the Flying Nimbus as rewards for them bringing him his turtle back and giving it water. Now, this version of Goku, mind you, is way stronger than the original, so any threat that comes his way over the next couple of weeks is instantly getting slapped to the side, as even against the reign of the terrible Oolong was nothing compared to Goku. But of course, Goku would not kill him, as Goku does have a righteous heart, and him and Bulma would still get the 6-star Dragon Ball. Now, this is when Goku, Bulma, and Oolong met Yamcha and Puar for the first time. Now, if you guys remember, Yamcha back then was a menace, as it was stated that he's never lost a fight. The bandit Yamcha was undefeated. Now, Goku, the reason why he lost so badly was because he was also starving. And yes, do I still believe that Saiyans still eat like that? I think that Universe 6 Saiyans still have the appetite, which is, I think, a passive trait between the two. And it wouldn't be Goku without him stuffing his face. Now, while Goku is much weaker because he's hungry, I don't think he would get beaten up as badly as you guys might think. Even though Yamcha is very strong, Goku has a power level of several hundred. So imagine that against a version of Yamcha who's a power level of around 10 to 15. So exactly why Goku would, I think, be overwhelmed by Yamcha initially, because he's all woozy because he hasn't eaten. All Goku needs is just one solid hit on Yamcha, and I think it would shock him with how strong Goku was, and it would slam him into a rock wall and be a pretty comical scene. But Yamcha would just kind of fake his defeat, and he would secretly follow them alongside his best friend Puar. And he would then follow Goku, Bulma, and Oolong alongside their quest. Now, originally, this is when Master Roshi actually used the Kamehameha wave to put out the flames on the Frying Pan Mountain. Now, although he destroys the mountain, along with the castle, showing off how powerful he is, among the debris, they would still find the 7-star Dragon Ball. I think this timeline around, it wouldn't be Master Roshi. I think it would be Goku. This is where I think Goku would shine and really impress Master Roshi with how powerful he is and his ki control. Goku would not use a Kamehameha. Goku would use his own energy to then use that as almost like a wind push that he's originally done before. We've seen Goku do this against the Ginyu Force, and against when people start powering up, the energy itself pushes wind and forces you back. That's when I think Goku would then use that ability, using a lot of his power to push the wind. Basically, it's almost like a ki push, almost like the Force, and it would take out the flames. And it wouldn't really damage the castle, but they would still find the 7-star Dragon Ball, of course. Now, Goku, again, he would have easily defeated the Boss Rabbit and his gang, sending them to the moon. Now, while they were sleeping, Mai and Shu would still be able to steal the Dragon Balls from Goku and the gang. Now, Pilaf would still be able to summon Shenron as they snuck it off. Now, this is when I believe that Oolong would still wish for girls' underwear, as we know the dirty wish, and the Dragon Balls would then disappear. Now, later, Goku would originally look at the moon and he would turn into a great ape and destroy Pilaf's castle. Well, this would not happen, as in reality, Goku would not really get locked up. And even if he was, if you could say maybe he was sleeping, or they put something in his food and he fell asleep, Goku can just punch his way out of the Pilaf castle. He's so powerful, they can't hold him. He doesn't even need Great Ape to escape. Goku was just so ridiculously strong. Now, of course, cutting to the next day, this is when Goku and Krillin would then become Master Roshi's students after fighting Launch, and a mermaid as well. Now, Roshi would then move his house to a larger island, and originally this is when the movie, The Dragon Ball Sleeping Princess and Devil's Castle, would also take place, but we're not going to dive into that since that's more of a movie. Now, Roshi notes on how powerful Goku is. His potential is unlike anything he's ever seen, and the fact that Goku, even though he's had slight training from Grandpa Gohan, of course, is that powerful. Imagine if he is trained the right way, he will be the strongest warrior on the planet, as Goku already has surpassed Roshi, and it's extraordinary just how strong he is. Goku can even rival the power of deities, and by deities he's referring to Korin, Kami, and Popo, by the way, as remember, those beings are viewed as gods on Earth, so just to mind you. Now, of course, they will begin their tough training under Master Roshi. They would then spend the next 7 months training. Now, it would be hard for Krillin to keep up with Goku since Goku is so much further ahead of him and his potential is even higher than before. So Goku is constantly getting stronger. But I think this would even push Krillin. Now, originally their power levels were roughly around 50 or so by the time that they met up with Roshi and started training. And then when Goku met up to go fight Roshi in the 21st World Martial Arts Tournament, his power level was roughly around 120. Krillin was a little bit behind. He was around 100 or so. But I think here personally that since Krillin does have a much stronger opponent to fight, Krillin's actually a lot stronger. I think that Krillin at least has a power level of around 125 to 130, which is a big jump in power in Dragon Ball scaling. So he's actually as strong as Goku was, and he would be able to fight Roshi very evenly, and his fight with Roshi would almost be a victory for Krillin. But Roshi would win because he has more experience than Krillin, and Roshi will be able to trick him and be able to win. But it was a very, very tough battle, and Krillin is already one of the most powerful people on the planet, and it definitely shows. But now, of course, this is when Goku would then step up to fight Master Roshi. Now, Master Roshi would not hold back against Goku. He would go into his buff form. Now, of course, how's he going to go against Goku? Not very well, apparently. As if Master Roshi went full power, and yes, I do believe that Roshi would start training. He doesn't want his student to be left behind by the Master, so Roshi's going to start training. As even having Goku around and Krillin catching up to him, he's going to start training again, so he's not so out of shape. And yes, I think that'll make him train harder. So Jackie Chung, aka Roshi, he would be very powerful. I think in terms of power scaling, his normal skinny version was originally around 120 to 130 or so. And that's why he was able to beat Krillin. Now, I think this version of Master Roshi would have a power level of around 150, which is a big jump in power. Now, when he goes into his buff form, his power level will be around 200. So Roshi's been really pushing himself, and he's been training alongside Goku and Krillin for the past 7 months, as he doesn't want to be rusty. And he's also been training in secret as well, increasing the weight of his turtle shell on his back. So that's why Roshi is so powerful in this version. But now, of course, against Goku, his power level is several hundred. Goku would still take the win. Goku was just too powerful, but Roshi put up a pretty decent fight against Goku with his experience, and he knows how Goku fights. But unfortunately, against pure strength and speed, skill can only go so far, and Roshi would have been defeated and knocked out of the ring, making Goku the winner. Now, of course, Goku would just eat all the funding away that he earned because he has a big appetite, and that's how the ending of the 24th World Martial Arts Tournament would then go. But now, of course, the next arc is the Red Ribbon Army arc. As Goku and the Red Ribbon Army begin their search for the Dragon Balls, the Red Ribbon Army would obtain the 6-star and the 5-star Dragon Balls. Now, the biggest problem for the Red Ribbon Army here is the fact that Goku is an absolute monster when it comes to strength. Goku, by this point, just for some people that want to know, his power level is well over 500. This means that nobody can stop him. Not even Demon King Piccolo, not even Piccolo Jr. during the Raditz arc can even stop him. He would absolutely annihilate the Red Ribbon Army. Any threat in his way, he would destroy with absolute ease, meaning that the Red Ribbon Army would actually end a lot faster, as he would easily be able to defeat the Red Ribbon Army in a shorter time. But now, of course, this is when Goku would then defeat Colonial Silver and take down White Corporate Muscle Tower. Now, Goku would have defeated General Blue, and he would have easily defeated Mercenary Tao this time around, not losing to him. Now, this is when I think he would still climb up Korn's tower. Now, this time around, Goku would have defeated the Red Ribbon Army completely. Now, of course, mind you, it's because Goku originally lost to Mercenary Tao. Now, this is when Goku would then climb up Korn's tower to then take the Sacred Water from him, which was actually just tap water. But Goku got stronger, getting Zenkai. That's how he was able to win. This time around, that's not going to happen. So Goku would actually train fully under Korn, and he would actually take the real Sacred Water, as he was more than strong enough. This would increase his strength massively, as Goku would go from power level around 500. We know that originally Goku got around 1.2 to 1.3 times stronger. So even if you want to use the same concept, even if it's a 1.3, that would bump his power level up to around 650, which is already making him stronger than he already needs to be. So Goku would have easily defeated any threat. Now, I still think the Fortune Teller Baba saga would happen with the battle arena, and Goku would still meet, of course, his dead grandfather. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, during this time, I believe that Grandpa Gohan would pass away peacefully while Goku was gone, as he was a very old man by the time that he met Goku, and remember, he's not immortal like Roshi. As he is at peace now with seeing how strong Goku is, I think being at peace, he would then let himself go and let Goku move on. So yes, I think Goku was still reunited with his dead grandfather, who was recently passed. Now, for the next 3 years, Goku originally began training to run around the world in the Chow Village. As he fights Plague and Terror, Goku meets Master Chin and fights the Sky Dragon. In the Master of Martial Arts contest, Goku enters a demon world, and he also fights Shula. Now, Goku saves Inu Shikachu, and he meets Tien Shinhan for the first time. That's during his journey for the next 3 years. Of course, that would end a lot faster because of how strong Goku is, but we're going to cut forward to that. Goku would then swim to Papa Island, where the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament would then take place. Every person that is in Goku's way has no chance of beating him. Goku would win every single time. Now, the main threat was Tien Shinhan. Unfortunately for Tien, who although was very powerful, having a power level of roughly around 180, would not be able to beat Goku. Even the likes of Krillin is actually a lot stronger. Krillin has kept his training up, and Krillin has a power level of roughly around 150 to 160. So Krillin would actually do a lot better in the tournament. And yes, I still think that the events of Tambourine, would he kill Krillin? Potentially. This is when I think that Krillin might still be killed by Tambourine. And if that was the case, and I do think that Krillin will put up a much better fight, you could either have Tambourine kill him, or even Demon King Piccolo could have killed Krillin himself. Now, when Goku does find his friend killed, this is when I think Goku would then snap for the first time. And this is when Goku would then transform into a Super Saiyan. Now, Major Dragon, wait a minute. Why is he going Super Saiyan so early? This doesn't make any sense at all. He's a Universe 6 Saiyan. The Universe 6 Saiyans, S cells, are way higher than a normal Saiyan. Way higher. All Kaba needed was for Vegeta to threaten him, and he turned into a Super Saiyan. All Caulifla needed was to have a tingle in her back, and she turned into a Super Saiyan, which I think is complete ridiculousness. So the fact that I still gave Goku a big reason to get that upset, give me some credit here. Goku just saw his best friend die, and his neck is broken, and he's badly wounded, so I think that's a good indication for Goku to get upset. Now, how strong is this version of Goku? Well, Goku's power level before the 3-year jump, he was roughly at around 650. I think since the 3 years of training, his power level will be around 850. Now, of course, times that by 50, his power level will be 42,500, making him as powerful as the likes of Jason Birder from the Ginyu Force, or Raccoon if you want. Making him around Ginyu Force level. This means that Goku's a multi-planet buster, and he's absurdly powerful. Goku's strength is so high that everyone on the planet can sense his strength. Demon King Piccolo is terrified of Goku. Goku would share no mercy, though, as he would kill Tambourine, and he would punch a hole right through Demon King Piccolo. Now, Demon King Piccolo would still spit out an egg, thus having Piccolo Jr., because we need Kami to live. Now, Kami would sense how powerful Goku is, and Goku would then lose the power. Now, Goku, although if he had better ki control, he can access the form whenever he wants. As this seems to be quite normal amongst Universe 6 Saiyans, they have a much better time controlling forms than Universe 7. Goku's ki control is horrible, so he's not very good at controlling it just yet. He needs the help from Kami and Popo, but with that help, he'll be able to do his thing. Now, he would still meet Yajirobe, and Yajirobe would then take him up Korn's tower, and with Korn's help, Goku would then be able to reach Kami's lookout, where he would then spend the next 3 years training, growing stronger. Now, Kami, of course, never had to remove Goku's tail. He never had to restore the moon, since it wasn't destroyed for no reason. So Goku would never come to his hour again. That wouldn't happen. Now, also, Tien, Yamcha, Krillin, and Chaozu would also climb up Korn's tower, and they would also train under Korn. They do have more motivation because of how strong Goku was, so they will actually be a bit stronger, but we'll get into that in a moment. Now, 3 years have passed. Goku is now a young man, as he's now an adult now, and he's fully grown. The 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament has now taken place. Would Goku still marry Chi-Chi? Yes. Because if you guys remember, he still met Chi-Chi when he was a kid, and Goku was still a bit goofy, and I still think he'd be attracted to Chi-Chi, and he still wants to get with her. Sorry, fans. It makes the most sense. So he would still become engaged to Chi-Chi, and this is when we see Piccolo Jr. Now, Piccolo Jr. has more motivation than ever, as he wants to try and surpass Goku. He knows how strong Goku is. In terms of power levels, he was originally around 306 or so when he fought Goku. Around 316 if you want to throw it in there, but he was in that realm of power. I think that since Piccolo has trained much harder to keep himself as powerful as possible, I think he's around 400, which is not a huge jump, but it makes sense, as when Piccolo's going to have a hard time. What do you mean by this? Is even when he fights the likes of Krillin, or even Tien, which, yes, I don't think that Goku would actually enter the tournament, as he's kind of going to stay back and watch Piccolo, as he wants his friends to also have the fun. And he'll fight them afterwards. He wants to have fun and fight them afterwards. So, this is when I believe that when Krillin goes up to fight Piccolo, Piccolo will have a rude awakening. How strong is this version of Krillin? Well, Krillin has been able to drink the Ultra Divine Water. Now, I know that sounds ridiculous, and you need to be pure of heart to do it. It's Dragon Ball. I do think that Krillin will be able to do it. He wants to keep up with his friend Goku, and he wants to be strong like him. Now, Tien Shan's a bit too evil, so we can't go too far into that one. Krillin was a bit of a jerk when he was younger, but at least he wasn't evil. You know, he did have a good heart. But now, of course, Krillin would then begin his assault on Piccolo, beginning to attack him. And Piccolo was shocked with how strong Krillin actually was. Krillin's power level at this time is at around 280. He was actually able to keep up with Piccolo pretty well, and Krillin was of course holding back still. As Piccolo was in shock as he had to go full power, jumping up to 400, this one starts to overwhelm Krillin pretty easily. Krillin would not back down, as he would then begin to power up to his full strength and remove his weighted clothing, which is what's been holding him down, surprising Piccolo with this, as then Krillin, his new power level is around 350. Which shows how much Goku is motivating his friends. Krillin will be able to keep up with Piccolo and actually push him really well. But fortunately, Piccolo would still take the win in the end because he does still have the higher power level and he would win. But it would not come easy. Now, in the events of Tien, if he did fight Piccolo, Tien's a little bit stronger than Krillin. Tien is at around 375 and that would push Piccolo a lot harder, but Piccolo would be able to win in the end. Now, of course, he doesn't really care about the tournament, so I think his battle with Tien would probably destroy the entire tournament, leaving it with just dust. And so there's not really a winner, as he would then outright challenge Goku, and Goku would, of course, accept this, as he's not going to disregard Piccolo's challenge. Now, when Piccolo goes to fight Goku, he has no chance. Goku is way too powerful, he would overpower Piccolo easily, and a single gut punch would nearly kill him, but he was defeated and knocked out. Now, Kami was about to kill Piccolo, but Goku would stop him, explaining that, of course, if Piccolo dies, or vice versa, they can't live without each other. They're yin and yang. So if Piccolo dies, Kami dies. If Kami dies, then Piccolo dies, which means that we lose the Dragon Balls. So he would then spare Piccolo, and Piccolo would then fly off. Now, of course, Gohan would still be born, and most of the events would go similar, but of course, 5 years later, Goku didn't really train as hard as he should have, as he even said so himself. He's kind of just been enjoying peace and quiet. But of course, he has his secret power that he can just use whenever he wants. But now, of course, this is when Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz are deployed to purge the planet Shik. After 3 days, the Saiyans conquer the planet. The Saiyans have an audience with Frieza, and after discussing their plans to usurp the tyrannical emperor, Raditz actually remembers that the Earth is near the coordinates, and he would then leave to go retrieve his brother Goku. Now, when Raditz does arrive on Earth, we know how this is going to go. He originally arrived on the beaches of Master Roshi's home where Goku was meeting his friends. And he explains who he is and who Goku is as well. And he's angry that Goku doesn't have his tail, but Goku says he never had one. And Raditz is a bit offended by it. He wonders if his tail was removed at birth. That has to be the only way. He would then explain who the Saiyans are and what the Saiyans do, and he would explain that it seems that he's failed in his mission to destroy this planet, but don't worry, Big Brother's here. He tells him that to prove your loyalty, I want 100 bodies on this island in the next day. Now, of course, Goku would immediately decline, saying, I'm not going to ever work with you, and I'm going to give you one chance to get off this planet and never return. Now, of course, Raditz would not listen, as he does tap his scouter. He sees that Goku's power level, although as high as around 500, it's not to his level. Remember, Goku is holding back. And Piccolo is secretly watching as well, but he knows that Goku can handle this guy. He can sense his power as well. Now, this is when Krillin would then ask this guy to get out of here, but I think this is when Raditz would still need Krillin and land him inside Kami's house. Goku would then get serious, and he would then tell Raditz that, alright, we can fight, let's get away from here. When they do land on one of the nearby islands, Raditz would then begin to power up to his full strength, having a power level of around 1,000, to around 1,200 to around 1,500. His power level was very consistent, around 1,200 to 1,500. Goku would begin to power up himself. And Raditz would then stare in shock with how strong Goku was actually becoming. Goku's power is continuing to rise. His power level would then jump up to roughly around 1,000 to roughly around 2,000. As Raditz's number went up with 1,000 to 2,000 to 3,000, Goku has a power level of 3,000, which is way stronger than him and almost as strong as Nappa, but not quite there. As Raditz cannot fight that. It's a bit too strong. Now, he thinks that his scouter is busted, as he did yell the power level out. Now, this is when Goku would then smirk at Raditz and say, you're going to love this, watch this. Goku would then transform into a Super Saiyan as Raditz's scouter, as he then yelled out that that's a Super Saiyan, and his scouter would then explode. Now, you guess who else heard about that? Now, that was Frieza. Now, Frieza is mildly curious, and he doesn't know if it's true or not, so he would actually tell Vegeta and Nappa to go to Earth and figure out what's going on about that, so Vegeta and Nappa would then begin making their way. Now, of course, Raditz has absolutely no chance in beating Goku. He would actually flee, heading back to Vegeta and Nappa. Now, some fans, Raditz does not die. What happens here is when Vegeta and Nappa originally threatened him, Raditz explains that, listen, you can kill me if you want afterwards, but I'm telling you, he is a Super Saiyan. I saw it with my own eyes. They're curious, so they want to bring him for themselves, and so Raditz will probably be beaten severely, but he would not be killed. So Raditz fans should be happy today. But now, of course, Vegeta and Nappa are now making their way. Now, Kami would then tell Goku that there is a master that he knows of who can help his strength grow, as Raditz, of course, threatened that other Saiyans are on their way within about a year's time. So, Goku would, of course, agree to this, and he would then follow Kami up to the other world. Now, King Yemma wasn't really happy having a living being there, but of course, Goku would explain that there is over 8 billion people about to die on planet Earth in about a year, and do you want to do with that paperwork? And King Yemma says, no, never mind, you got me. Go on ahead. Alright, now you're good. So Goku would then begin to fly down Snake Way. Yes, I believe that Goku can fly by this point, because Universe 6 Saiyans have better ki control in biology than normal Universe 7 Saiyans. And also, since he's so much stronger, I do think that he would have the power now to be able to fly. So he would make his way down to Snake Way and get there much faster, getting there within about a week or so time. As of course he was starving, luckily some of that demon fruit that he ate did help him. Now he was able to make it to King Kai's world. Now the gravity did hit him pretty bad as he would still collapse, but he would manage it a lot better because he's a lot more powerful than the original. So he would be able to get his way to clothes off, and he was pretty much normal, but he was getting stronger because of the gravity. He would still beat Master Roshi and tell him a funny joke. Master Roshi would still be down to train Goku. He does note how strong Goku is, and that he has kept tabs on him. He notices on how Goku does have this Super Saiyan power. He wants to see it. So Goku would begin to power up, and he would turn Super Saiyan. Now his power level as a Super Saiyan is roughly around 150,000. As King Kai is amazed with how strong Goku is, he says even after he's done training, he might even be able to fight the likes of Frieza. Maybe, but he's going to keep that between himself. As so, Goku will begin his training. Now originally, Goku trained for about 90 days or so under Master Roshi, under King Kai. And with that, he was able to get around 18.8 times stronger. With Kaioken and the Spirit Bomb training, which I still think that Goku, would he learn about Kaioken? It's up for debate. It's still about a year. I think Goku would still learn about it, but I think that his main thing is a Super Saiyan form, which he would learn to master even better and control the power, which will only increase the multiplier and his strength. Now, he would learn the Spirit Bomb, being able to use it much more efficiently and better than before, because he has more training with it, and King Kai would be able to summon weights for him to train with, so Goku's only getting stronger. Now, let's try to the question. How strong is Goku? Well, Goku's power level was around 3,000 when he made it to King Kai's world. Since he has many more months to train, and more, I think personally, using the weights as well, his power level will be much higher. He would be able to jump, originally was 18.8 times stronger. I think this is at least 30 times stronger, which is not even that much higher, so I'm kind of lowballing it, but Goku's power level will be around 90,000. Now, Goku would make it on time, so by the time that Vegeta and Nappa do arrive, they were still battling some of the Earthlings. This is when I believe would Piccolo and the others die. Well, remember now that the Earthlings are a lot stronger, so their power levels will be in the 2000s range. So if they do all gang up on Nappa, they would actually be able to push him and be able to kill him together. Now, Goku was right along his way. As Vegeta was surprised to see this, he would then sense that Kakarot's on his way, and his power level is absurd. It actually broke his scouter immediately, so he would then fire a massive blast right at whoever he can. Now, this would be towards Gohan and the others, as Piccolo would actually sacrifice himself, jumping in the way of the blast. And Piccolo was severely wounded, and he would still die. Now, it was just Piccolo who died, not the other Earthlings. He sacrificed himself, which goes to show the character development. Now, Goku would then land right as that happened, and it was too late, as now Piccolo is gone, and the Dragon Balls are gone as well. Goku was, of course, visibly very angry, as he would then challenge Vegeta to a match. They would then fly off to a more private area, the Rocky Wasteland, and the fight would then begin. Unfortunately for Vegeta, even at his full strength, Goku in base form can slap him like he's a kid, all around the entire area, like he's a bad toddler. Vegeta has no chance against this version of Goku. Every attack that he tries throwing at Goku does no damage. His punches just bounce off Goku. They don't even damage him. It's almost like when Vegeta got humbled by Broly in the DBZ Broly movie. His attacks did nothing. And so Vegeta would be desperate. This is when I think he would still make the fake moon, and he would still turn into a great ape since Goku does not have a tail. Now, Goku would be surprised as he's never seen a great ape before. He didn't know what would happen if a Saiyan ever turned into one. He knows they turned into a monster with what Raditz said. Now, wait a minute. Where's Raditz? Well, Raditz is being a little baby sneaking around, as he is so terrified that he's actually hiding in the distance watching it all go down. He is not stepping into this at all, as this is beyond his power level league. He knows that he cannot win, so he's staying away and watching. Now, of course, Vegeta has a power level of around 180,000. Now, of course, this is stronger than Goku, so he actually gets the upper hand on Goku using a massive mouth beam, hitting Goku with it, tearing off Goku's top G and leaving some cuts and bruises on Goku. And Vegeta was, of course, very cocky, thinking that he was going to win. Unfortunately for him, this is when Goku would then tell Vegeta that your arrogance is what's going to be defeated, as he would then begin to power up, transforming into a Super Saiyan. Having a power level of around 4.5 million, he would easily punch Vegeta around in his Great Ape state, and he would then remove his tail, thus reverting Vegeta back to normal, who is severely wounded. Now, this is when I think that Vegeta was amongst the rubble. This is when Raditz would actually help Vegeta. I know, hear me out. This is when Raditz was actually trying to help Vegeta up, and Goku would then notice him. Raditz was terrified, as Raditz actually begs for mercy with Goku, explaining that he had no part of this. And this is when Goku would actually feel sympathy. This is still Goku we're talking about. Goku would then tell Vegeta to get out of here and not come back. As Vegeta would then take his leave in his space pod, Goku then offers to Raditz for him to stay. He explains that while you did do some bad, you still tried helping out Vegeta to a degree, but you're allowed to stay on Earth if you want, since you had no part in this. You could have if you wanted to, but you didn't. And so Raditz doesn't really have a choice since he took the last space pod, so he's going to have to stay. And of course, the Z Fighters are not very happy with him, as they can all actually defeat him if they wanted to, but Goku says no, as this is just Goku's character to help his friends out. Now, since Piccolo is now killed and Kami's gone, the Dragon Balls are gone as well, Popo would then offer them to show him Kami's original ship that he arrived in, and with Bulma's help, they can then use this to head to planet Namek as she makes her own spaceship over the next week or two. Now, of course, while Vegeta is recovering, he will still go to planet Namek. Now, again, they would speak about the Dragon Balls to Vegeta, so Frieza knows about it. So Frieza's heading his way to Namek as well. So when Vegeta gets there, Frieza just got there as well. They're beginning their search for the Dragon Balls. So that would all pretty much go the exact same. Now, once when the ship is ready, I think Raditz would have kind of an awakening and he realizes the wrong that he's did. And he can't fight his brother, because it's a Super Saiyan. The ultimate power. He explains that he can beat Frieza. And Raditz is actually ready to go. Now, of course, it would have to be Bulma, Krillin, and Gohan first that step up. Because the first ship does not have the gravity room, which Goku needs that to help Raditz get stronger. So him and Raditz are going to have to wait an extra week and continue training. So the same events for Namek will go the same in the beginning, as the only difference here is that Gohan and Krillin will be a little bit stronger, but not by a massive margin. Our story last ended with Goku annihilating Nappa and Vegeta, as of course they had no chance against this version of Goku and his friends, as they're all grown stronger. Now, Goku did spare Raditz's life, and because of this, what are they going to do now? Well, since Piccolo has still died, sacrificing himself for Gohan and the others, now that Kami's not here. So, this is when, with Bulma's help, they would then find Kami's ship with the help of Popo, and with Bulma's help, they'll be able to make a spaceship. Now, this time around, Raditz and Goku are actually going to wait. And the reason why is because Bulma's father is working on a gravity room for the other spaceship. And it'll be more beneficial if Goku and Raditz stay behind, as Goku needs to get Raditz ready if he is to join him on Namek, as Raditz's power level is very low. So that is what they're going to do. So, it would still be Bulma, Krillin, and Gohan. Now, the one difference here is Gohan himself. Since Goku is kind of OP already, Gohan's natural potential is going to be even higher than the original. So Gohan is absolutely broken when it comes to how strong he can become. But he still is a half Saiyan. He is not a wild Saiyan in nature. He is a bit more peaceful and kind of more gentle. He doesn't really want to fight and kill things or be a crazy training maniac like how Goku and Vegeta are. Now, as for Gohan, once when he met up with Krillin and they were getting things going, he had a power level after the Dende stuff roughly around 10,000 plus. As with that, they were able to keep up with the likes of Raccoon and survive some of their onslaught. But now, how strong is this version of Gohan? Gohan does do some mental training with Krillin. Once when they do arrive, I think that Gohan's power level, in my opinion, would be around 10,000. I think that with the Zenkais that he gets, on top of the fact that he is training more, Gohan is a monster if you think about it. And when Gohan does show up, he would still kick Dodoria away, and they would still be able to escape by using the Solar Flare technique, but they did save a young Namekian by the name of Dende. Now with this, Dende would then offer them to go meet the Grand Elder, and he has the last Dragon Ball that they might be needing. Now Frieza already has 5 or so Dragon Balls saved up as they're searching for the other ones. Now Vegeta did also arrive on Namek at the same time as well. Now in terms of power levels, Vegeta is roughly the same in terms of his power level, as he's already got a big jump in Zenkai at this point. So Vegeta will still go on his wacky adventure that we all know. But as for Krillin and Gohan, they would still meet Grand Elder Guru. And with meeting Grand Elder Guru, he would unlock Gohan and Krillin's potentials after reading their minds and seeing that they do have good intentions. Now, how strong would they become? Well, we know that it is a gradual release of your potential, as we saw this with Gohan and the others as they got stronger over time. As Gohan went from having a power level of 10,000 when he first arrived at Namek, even less than that, to having a power level of 700,000 plus to where he was, well, when he's angry, to where he was even able to stun second form Frieza, and he was even able to actually slightly stun final form Frieza. So it shows you that Gohan's potential is rapidly growing as time passed, as the next few days of Namek. So it does make sense here. So Gohan's initial release, since his potential is much higher than the original, his power level would actually skyrocket. It would go up to 30,000 from 10,000, so he got a lot stronger in that short amount of time. And that was the initial boost. And Krillin's power level would be around 20-some thousand, as Krillin, again, he's a lot more powerful than the original as well. He's pushing himself further than ever because of Goku motivating him and more. So Krillin's not a slouch either. Krillin's been training a lot, and he has a lot of untapped potential because he's pushing himself further than anyone's ever gone. So that's one of the biggest reasons. Now, when they do meet up, what about Vegeta? Well, for Vegeta's journey is roughly the same. He still easily killed Dodoria, and when he fought Zarbon, he was overpowering Zarbon at first, until Zarbon would then transform into his true state, which is a monstrous form, uglier than anything else. He would then overwhelm Vegeta initially, and he would knock him out. But he would spare Vegeta's life, thinking that Vegeta does have his uses. So, he would then still send to Frieza's ship, and Vegeta would then heal up. A couple of hours later, Vegeta fully came back, as he now has another Zenkai on top of that. Vegeta would then use a distraction, tricking Frieza in them, as he would be able to free the Dragon Balls and keep them for himself. So now he has 5 Dragon Balls saved up, as his goal is to wish for immortality. That way no one can beat him, not even Frieza or Kakarot. Now he knows that Kakarot is a busted human being of a Saiyan, and how broken he is, but he doesn't know that Kakarot's coming to Earth. But he is worried because if Kakarot does, he could stop his plans, as Goku was a part of his plan to be defeated, alongside Frieza. Well, the same events would happen, as Frieza by this point has had enough, and yes, Zarbon was still defeated by Vegeta. Vegeta would have overwhelmed Monster Form Zarbon, and he would have been defeated. Because Zarbon forgot, and Vegeta reminded him that Saiyans get Zenkais. When they are badly wounded and near death, they grow stronger. So, Vegeta and them overwhelmed Frieza's top men. Now Frieza is irritated, he would then call for the Ginyu Force. And the Ginyu Force is now making their way. Now this is going to be a big problem. Now, once when the Ginyu Force does arrive, we would have a pretty cool scene, as Gohan is not as much of a slouch as he originally was. Gohan's power is actually comparative to Vegeta, and Vegeta notices this when he sees Gohan powering up. So Gohan was actually able to beat Guldo pretty easily. Now, as for Raccoon, when Vegeta fights Raccoon, he actually does pretty decent against Raccoon, but Raccoon was holding back, and he was just too strong for Vegeta. But Vegeta did do damage. He did hurt him. I would say that Raccoon's probably a little bit stronger, about 35 to 40,000 in terms of power level. Jason Burr is probably 45 or so. Now, Vegeta would then tell Gohan to fight with him. And because if they double team Raccoon, they can beat him. And that is what they do. With both of them teaming up, Raccoon was getting overwhelmed. Now, Jason Burr doesn't like that because, doesn't really seem fair. You know, they're doing 2v1. That's not very fair. And they also noticed that Raccoon is actually getting overwhelmed. So this is when either Jace or Birder would then step in, and they would start to turn the tides on them badly. Now, this is when we would have Krillin jump in to try and even the odds a little bit, as Krillin, again, is very strong. Krillin will be able to even the odds. Now it was basically now it was 2 against 3 of them. But then now you have the other problem. Then you're going to have Jace or Birder jump in as well. So now it's, all 3 of them fighting all 3 of them. Then the Z Fighters get overwhelmed. But they held out long enough, and none of them died. AKA Gohan, when he had his neck almost broken by Raccoon. This is when Goku and Raditz would then step out of the space pod, aka the spaceship, and they would then arrive to fight the Ginyu Force. Now, what about Goku and Raditz's journey? As a lot has happened since then. Well, as for Goku and Raditz, they still had to wait the week, and then they started training in space and gravity for a week. They would train past 100 times gravity training together. And people like Whis have even stated that when you have a sparring partner in training, your power grows massively. So it's extraordinarily much higher. So how strong would Goku and Raditz actually become? Well, if you want to look at something similar, Goku, when he trained by himself, he got around 11.25 times stronger. And so if you want to add the fact that Goku also has his busted skills, but we're going to go to Raditz first. Raditz has a power level of 1,500 before he jumps into the space training. Now, you could say that Raditz also, again, maybe he gets a little Zenkai because he did technically survive Goku. You could say so, but it wasn't a bad beating to where Raditz was near death. So his power level was still 1,500. Now, 11.25 is roughly about how strong Goku got. If Raditz has any similar potential to Goku, the original Goku, since he had a sparring partner, Raditz got around 22.5 times stronger. In my opinion, since he has Goku training, I'm going to say Raditz got around 25 times stronger. If that's the case, Raditz got a pretty big jump in power. Raditz went from 1,500 to having a power level of 37,000, which is really, really impressive. And he also has some other abilities, but we'll touch upon that in just a moment. Now, what about Goku? Well, you gotta understand the fact that Goku's Universe 6 Saiyan cells are absolutely OP, as they naturally don't have the Great Ape state, so their potentials are much higher. Now, since Goku has a power level of around 90,000 at this point, even before the training, Goku originally got around 11.25 times stronger, even if you add 25 times because he's training with Raditz, having a sparring partner. This version of Goku has way more potential because of his biology. So, well, how strong is he? Even if he was twice that amount, and this is lowballing it, Goku got 50 times stronger. It's not too far-fetched because that means that originally, even without Raditz, he would have gotten a 25 times boost. With training with somebody else, it's twice as high. So his power level equals to about 50 times more. So Goku's power level is 4.5 million, meaning that he is stronger than he originally was when he fought Frieza. His power level is similar to when he fought Trunks originally, but now Goku is absurdly strong. And he has Super Saiyan on top of it, the Kaioken if he wants, which he doesn't really use Kaioken unless he really needs to, but he doesn't need it, and the Spirit Bomb. Now, he teaches Raditz how to use the Kaioken technique. Now, Raditz, again, it's about a week of learning, and Raditz is actually able to use it. He's naturally adapted to being able to do it. Now, he can only go to ×2 for a short burst. He cannot hold it very well. It's still very early phase. So when they do arrive to stop the Ginyu Force, this is when the Z-Fighters were pretty badly wounded, but they were still alive. And the Ginyu Force was having fun, but now they want to end them. This is when Goku and them would arrive. Raditz and Goku would then take over and handle the Ginyu Force problem. Raditz would then handle Recoome himself, as Goku will handle Jason Birder. Now, Captain Ginyu has already left, as he got the Dragon Balls. He's going to go deliver them to Frieza, alongside with the better scouters. Now, Raditz had a power level of around 37,000 or so, about 37 to 38,000. So, he's really strong. He's almost at the same level as Recoome, and Recoome's already injured. But what I think would happen here is when Recoome charges up his Ultra Fighting Bomber, this is when Raditz's power level will spike, and we would see Raditz showcase his real power, as Raditz has Kaioken. Now, with a Kaioken ability, it buffs that 37,500, even if it's a ×2, up to 75,000, which will one-shot Recoome, and he would have been defeated. Raditz would have killed him in a single strike. Now, when Goku does fight Jason Birder, they do team up as the Purple Comet duo, but it doesn't work out. They're overwhelmed by Goku's raw strength, and they are defeated. Now, Vegeta would have killed Jason Birder as well, explaining that this is survival of the fittest. There's no need to be as soft like you. Now, this is when originally Captain Ginyu did come back and he was going to fight Goku, and I still think that would happen. Now, the one difference is Raditz is there to fight alongside Goku in case he needs it, but Goku tells Raditz to get out of here. He'll catch up. Now, Goku, all he has to do, just in base form, is just power up. It shoots past 180,000, and Ginyu's scouter blows up. Ginyu would then injure himself, and he would then try the change now technique. Unfortunately for him, Goku is way too fast. He would easily dodge the attack, getting out of the way in time, and he would then deliver a powerful punch to Ginyu, which would actually kill him, ending him. So there is no Frog Ginyu running around. Or is there? As Ginyu was slowly dying, he would then look over while Goku flies off, and he then sees a frog. As Ginyu knows he's going to die, he would then do the change now technique to that frog, as then the frog would then jump away. As Ginyu was going to die, like he was not going to survive. And then now, we are then going to have the Frieza arc, as now, they would still arrive at Frieza's spaceship, the Dragon Balls are all there. Now what are they going to do? But now with Dende there, now what they can do is then summon the dragon, as Vegeta's there as well, but Vegeta does blurt out that he wants immortality. It doesn't work because you need to speak the Namekian language. When Dende actually does speak the Namekian tongue, they wish for Piccolo back and to bring him to Namek as well. So Piccolo is brought back, he's at Namek, he then starts making his way there. All during this time, Frieza has been fighting Nail, and he's been pretty much torturing Nail, but Nail's been distracting him this whole time. And then this is when Frieza would then fly off and head towards the other Z Fighters with pure rage. Now this is when Piccolo would then stop by with Nail, and he would still fuse with him at this time, as he does sense Nail nearby. So Piccolo does get a buff in strength, and he's not as evil as he originally is. But Gohan did kind of lighten him up a little bit. Fusing with Nail really does help him out. But now the Dragon Balls will then turn to stone because Elder Guru has now passed. Now Frieza was not happy to see this, as the first person who goes to fight Frieza is going to be Goku. Goku has been wanting to fight Frieza, he's heard a lot about him, and he's excited. He can sense that Frieza is very powerful, much more powerful than the Ginyu Force, but he feels like he's hiding something. Frieza's not at full strength, there's no way. As now, Frieza would then power up in his first form and go to fight Goku. But his scouter would then shoot past 400,000 and it would then explode, as Goku's, again, powering up, he's not even trying. Now Frieza would then realize that he's in a bit of a trouble, so this is when Frieza would then power up to his second form. So, with this being said, this is when Frieza would then power up to his second form and start attacking Goku, but he realizes that no matter what he does, it doesn't work. Goku is dodging every attack, overwhelming Frieza easily with some simple strikes. Frieza would then skip his third form, as he knows he has no choice. Goku would even tell Frieza, if you have your real power, I want to see it. Frieza would then go into his final form, and this is when the real fight would begin. Unfortunately for Frieza, Frieza will begin to power up. He would even go to up to 80% of his power. Against Goku, it would not work. Goku was toying with Frieza, messing around with him. And Vegeta was shocked to see this. Now, he knows that Kakarot is the Super Saiyan. He knows this, but it's just incredible to see. But he knows that Kakarot's not using the real power yet. And then now, this is when we would see Goku actually begin to try. Since now Frieza's at 80%, he would start overwhelming base form Goku. And now this is when Goku would then begin to power up, showing Frieza that he's a Super Saiyan, and he transforms into the power easily. Now Frieza is terrified by this, as Goku is way beyond Frieza. This version of Goku is way more powerful than the original version of himself when he fought Frieza. So Frieza has no chance. He would tell Frieza to go full power. He wants to fight him at 100%. And I think Frieza would listen, and Frieza would then begin to bulk up in size, but he was worried that Goku might ruin it. But Goku says, no, I'm not going to interrupt you. Take your time. Frieza would then go 100%, and Goku was a bit disappointed. He says, all that waiting, and this is how you treat me. This is not very nice. As Frieza would then begin to charge in, he begins attacking Goku, pushing Goku, and of course Goku was easily pushing Frieza back. No matter what Frieza did, it just didn't work. Nothing. But then something happens to Frieza. Frieza's rage was so high that something begins to happen to him. Now, Frieza's species is very special. They can mutate and change. As we know this, Frieza's body begins to mutate. As he's up against a foe who is so much stronger than him, his body's beginning to change. Something's happening and Frieza doesn't know what it is. It's almost like a forced evolution on Frieza. This is when Frieza would then transform into his fifth form. I know, okay, hold on. But Major Dragon, how does this make sense? How in the world does Frieza have a fifth form? Well, it's a what if, and why not make it fun? But Frieza heard of the Super Saiyan transformation. He's heard of it from Raditz, which was a year or so ago, so he's a little nervous about it. So what's Frieza been doing? Well, Frieza doesn't like training. He doesn't like training at all. But he would speak to his father, who would also have some of the scientists, and they begin to mutate with Frieza's body and basically kind of speed up his evolution. And remember, Cooler's a little bit older than Frieza in the movie, and he was able to find basically a higher transformation beyond that one, a more mutated battle form, which is what Cooler was able to find because he is older than Frieza. He has evolved more. Now, we don't know what King Cold can do. We've never seen it, but if you ever watch the Dragon Ball multiverse comic where King Cold, I know it's not canon, he was able to jump up to a 6th and 7th form, which was ridiculous. I don't think that they can do that. But with Frieza, the scientists would give him stuff to help mutate his evolution further. So when Frieza has now fought an opponent, those have now taken effect. Frieza's now forcefully mutating. He then went into his 5th form. His power level has increased. Now, how strong is this version of Frieza? Well, this version of Frieza is much stronger. His power skyrockets over 400 million, which is beyond anything that Goku was shocked to see how this was possible. And Frieza, with this new power, would then smirk as he now feels stronger than ever. He would then overpower Goku easily. He's nearly twice the power of Goku. You can't match him. Frieza almost tortures the Super Saiyan, overwhelming him, as the Z-Fighters are shocked to see this. As Frieza would then deliver a powerful death beam right to Goku's chest, and then throw him into the water. As Frieza would then begin to charge up an attack to end the planet. Now, this is when Frieza takes his time, of course, as he begins to mess around. This is when we would have Krillin fly up to Frieza, being very brave, and he would then yell out a solar flare. Now, Goku was still badly wounded when the death beam hit him. Luckily, it did not hit any vital organs. Goku was very lucky to be alive. And the death beam is really hot, so it does cauterize the wound, but it's still a bad wound. This is when Goku sees Krillin yell out the solar flare technique, and Goku tells Krillin to get away. This is when Frieza, although he is blinded, he was still able to grab Krillin. Now, Krillin, luckily, was able to get out of the grasp because he had the Saiyan armor on. He broke out of the Saiyan armor, he slipped out of it. Frieza couldn't see where he was. Krillin would then use his full power to defend his friend Goku, hitting Frieza, and Frieza's not prepared for it. He doesn't see it. It then sends him into the rock ground as Krillin fires everything that he has to protect his friend. Everything. even firing Destructo Disc, which doesn't really do shit to Frieza. But this is when the dust would then settle. Krillin would then look to Goku and tell him to get away quickly and try and let Dende heal before he could finish. Frieza killed Krillin, punching a hole right through him. As Frieza recovered, he was able to just see just a little bit, but that's all that he needed, as he could just make out Krillin's bald head. And his head does shine a lot, so maybe he could see the glare. As he did hit Krillin, Krillin would then collapse dead. Goku would then rush over to his friend, and his anger was beginning to rise more and more. As Goku's hair would begin to spike up, and electricity would then start to go around as Frieza's laughter was not helping. Frieza would then stop and stare as Vegeta and the others were staring in shock. Goku would then ascend even further beyond. As it was a cool scene how Kaba was able to do the same thing with Rage, and not the Khalifa where she just turns into it. And Goku would then have a new power. He would then transform into a Super Saiyan 2, as it's about time he has the new evolution buff anyway. He would then look to Frieza, and then the real fight would begin. Now, Goku is stronger than this version of Frieza, having a power level of over 450 million. Now, this fight is getting very intense. Goku would tell all of his friends to get off the planet and get everybody out of here. The same fight would practically go down on Namek. It's just one's a mutated fifth form, one is a Super Saiyan 2 transformation. So, the same fight would practically go down. They're almost even, but Goku does have the slight advantage. There is one downside to Frieza's power, though. He's getting tired, because he's not used to this fifth form yet, and he's getting exhausted. His stamina is falling fast, his power was dropping. Frieza would still try blowing up the planet, but he was afraid, so Namek will begin to start counting down the explosion time. As now that Namek's core has been completely disintegrated, the planet will blow up in about 5 minutes, 3 hours, and now, with Goku's friends, they would have then flown off. Goku, with the help of King Kai and the others, they would then use the Dragon Balls to wish back all the Namekians and more, and bring them all to planet Earth and get them to safety. Now, Goku would overwhelm Frieza in the end, and he would still be able to escape. He did fire a final attack at Frieza, and it did end Frieza, or so we know, and Frieza was defeated. From what we know. As now, Frieza would then lay in space. Now, Frieza did not get cut in half in this, or did he? Because originally Frieza used the Destructo Disc attack, or his Death Saucer attack, and I still think it would cut him pretty badly, and Frieza still lost a few limbs and he was badly wounded. Frieza was then drifting in outer space. And then Goku would be able to find a space pod and escape, going to planet Yardrat just like before. Now, the one difference for Frieza that we're going to do here for his arc is going to be something you're not expecting. Frieza was broken. This time around, his father never shows up. King Cold does not arrive for his son. He doesn't care. Well, he does care slightly. He's more angry that his son failed. Even with this mutation, he still failed. King Cold is not even going to bother looking for him because he seems Frieza as a waste then. Frieza was defeated by a Super Saiyan apparently, and even in his mutated form he could have still lost. So King Cold has no respect for Frieza. He wouldn't have even been searching for him. So Frieza now lays adrift in space. Now traveling through space, this is when Frieza would then be sucked through a wormhole, and Frieza would then crash land on a broken scrap planet. One that, funny enough, Frieza actually owns. It's a garbage planet. Things where they drop off scrap metal and more. Broken ships, broken items, they just throw. It's a throwaway planet. And if they ever do need to sell it, they can then remelt all the metals and then resell it for money if they want to. So that's what the planet is based off of. It's basically a recycling scrapyard planet. Frieza would then crash hard, as Frieza was badly wounded. Frieza was still in his final form, mind you, but he just wasn't in his mutated form anymore. And then Frieza would briefly, just briefly, he still has both his eyes, by the way. He's just missing one of his arms, and he's missing his legs mainly. His legs and his tail is missing. This is when Frieza would then see some shapes appear, and then he goes unconscious. Frieza would then open his eyes, and he would then see that he was put back together. But now, of course, these metals were scraps. They were scraps of metal, but they actually worked. Whoever did it was actually very intelligent. And Frieza was somehow alive. He did have his, of course, he did have his 2 legs, and he did have a roboticish tail that didn't really do too much, but he could actually move around. And Frieza did have some bad scarring across his face and his body, but he was alive. But Frieza was broken. Frieza was mentally broken. Everything that he had was gone, and he was defeated by a Super Saiyan. So when these 2 people then open up the flap to go see Frieza, these 2 people were known as Chilai and Lemo. Now, of course, they are a lot younger here, with Chilai being very young. Lemo's a little bit younger. They would actually help Frieza. They're the ones who found him and helped him. Now, they know who he is. They know that it's Frieza, at least from what they could tell, but no one's really ever seen Frieza's final form. No one has seen it. So they didn't want to assume. Frieza would just lay there just staring at the ceiling as Frieza was broken. Frieza would then look to them and says, "That is who I am." But Frieza was acting weird. It seems like maybe it was brain damage or something, because Frieza's actually struggling to even remember some things as well. Everything's a lot fuzzy. He can remember his empire, and he remembers fighting that monster on Namek. But then after that blast hit him with the explosion of Namek, he doesn't really remember much before that. He doesn't know. He just remembers fighting that golden monster. Really. So this Frieza is kind of docile. He's pretty calm. And he would actually thank them for saving his life. And Frieza would struggle to get up as he's still getting used to these new crappy legs. He then asked, where are they? And they explained that they're on a scrapyard planet. That is actually owned by Frieza. Well, you. And Frieza was shocked to see this. He thinks that maybe this is hell for him. Maybe he died. And maybe it's better off this way. But now Frieza has a new character arc that he definitely needs to start working on. But now, of course, we're going to jump over that in just one moment, and then we're going to cut to Goku and the others. Now, Goku is now training on planet Yardrat. Over a year would then pass, as Trunks would still arrive from the original future timeline. Now, Trunks is really confused, as he's wondering, where is everybody? Frieza's not here, no one's here, Goku's not here. He doesn't really see anybody just yet. Now, the Z-Fighters were not expecting Goku to be there just yet, until Trunks would then sense Goku arriving. A couple hours later, this is when Goku does arrive. The Z-Fighters will then show up as they do sense Goku's power level. Everybody was really happy. Also, yes, Vegeta did go with everybody to planet Earth, so they are all doing their own thing. So it's pretty much the same exact scene of what happened in the original, so everybody's happy. So that's all good. Trunks will still meet up with Goku. He would still give Goku the heart virus medicine and explain to Goku all about the androids. Where he's from, the androids, what time they will be arriving and what day, and to be ready. Goku understands as he's ready, he's kind of excited to fight these androids. And then Trunks would then also show him Super Saiyan, and Goku would go Super Saiyan as well, surprising Trunks with how strong Goku was. He thinks that's more than enough to beat the androids for sure. And so Trunks would then take his leave, as now they have 3 years to begin their training. Goku would of course train with Piccolo, Gohan, and Raditz, as Goku wants to try to teach Raditz how to go Super Saiyan, or at least try to, and maybe even help Gohan maybe learn Super Saiyan too. That'd be cool. So that is when they're gonna start beginning their training. But now people want to go back to Frieza. What about Lord Frieza? What is happening during these past couple of years? Well, we last ended with Frieza getting confused as to where he is. Now Frieza here, mind you, he's lost. He's broken. Frieza is scarred. Frieza would then walk with Shinla and Lemo through the scrapyard, as that's what they do. They collect scrap, make some parts, and then try to sell it in trader shops. Frieza has kind of a ripped up cloak that he puts around his face, and it covers a lot of his body so he can keep himself hidden, as Frieza is way too weak. His body is severely damaged, and on top of that, these robotic parts are not helping him very well. But Frieza has a different idea in mind. He is mad at the Super Saiyan for what he did, but he's more mad at his father. He does remember his father. Why didn't his father come for him if he was laying in space? His father left him. Frieza is kind of broken. Everything that Frieza was and is gone. That fight with that monster Super Saiyan broke him. Now Frieza's nothing more than a withered, rusty shell of himself. And Chi and Lemma are actually rubbing off on him a little bit. Their kind nature is a bit revolting to him a little bit, but he's actually kind of accepting it. Because of the damage that Frieza got mentally as well, he's not as cruel-hearted as he originally was. He's still a jerk, like he's still Frieza, but he's not as evil or malicious as he originally was. He's not as crazy or heartless. He actually has some humanity beaten into him by Goku. So, during this time, Frieza would then arrive at the arena, and Frieza asked, well, what is this? As Chi-Li and Lemma would then explain, well, this is the fighting arena that they have every single year, and they always collect people to then use them to fight. Now, Frieza, of course, is not much of a fighter, but then we have a problem, as then guards would then arrive and grab Chi-Li, who was actually a thief. She actually did steal some things, and Lemma would get in trouble for being a part of it. This is when Frieza would actually step in. Now, Frieza cannot use his full power, but he was able to overwhelm these guards easily, punching them with ease, blitzing in front of them, until they fired a strange disc-shaped thing into his chest, and Frieza would then get electrocuted. He would then collapse. Frieza would then awaken as he was underground somewhere, sort of like a cell, with a bunch of other people. And Chi-Li and Lemma were right there. They also had these discs on their chest as well. And Lemma was terrified. Frieza asks what's wrong. Lemma explains that we are in the pit. The pit is where you do fighting for the leaders, and if you make them happy, they will grant you the freedom. Usually it's criminals, warriors who land on this planet. They get captured and are forced to fight for the pleasure of the ruler of this section of the cosmos. And Frieza tries to remember who the leader of the part of this cosmos was. He's trying to remember. But now it was time. As Chi-Li, Lemma, and Frieza were then called up with a few other criminal inmates as well, they would then step up and the pit would then rise up, as it's a massive coliseum, similar to the one in Greek culture, as then there were thousands and tens and hundreds of thousands of people screaming. Now, no one really recognizes Frieza because of how disfigured he is, and he's also half robotic, and he's also in his final form. Frieza here would then be shocked to see just what is this? He vaguely remembers it, but he can't figure it out. This is when the announcer would then call for the leader of the cosmos to then arrive. It was Abba and Kato. For those who don't know who it is, if you look at the little short movie called Yo, Son Goku and His Friends Return, Abba and Kato were actually a duo. And these beings were near the strength of Frieza, and they had the ability to do fusion, and they fused into a being that was stronger than Frieza himself. They were able to fight Goten and Trunks as well. Now, these beings were actually Frieza's top men. They were Secret Squadron top men that did rule over a section of the universe that Frieza held. They were kind of like his top enforcers. They kept everybody in line, even above the Ginyu Force. So when Frieza was gone, they actually rose up in power, and with this fusion ability, they're as strong as Frieza. So they're able to actually take over Frieza's rule. And that's what would happen. King Cold replaced Frieza. And Frieza can tell. And Frieza's rage was boiling higher than ever before. But now, of course, Abba and Kato, they're not going to fight. They want to watch it. Now, they do briefly kind of make out this strange lizard down there. He looks similar. Remember, they've never seen no one's really ever seen Frieza's final form. The only person that has ever seen his final form is his parents, and also Barry Blue. They're one of the only people that's ever seen his true form. They've always just seen his first form. So Abba and Kato wonder if it is an Arcosian, just maybe he was basically a faulty one, but they don't think that is Frieza. So for the next few days, Frieza would begin doing these challenges, having to fight these monsters, robotic creations, horrific aliens as well, and Frieza was getting his power back as he was tinkering with the technology that he had. Now, with Chi-Li and Lemma helping him out, the thing as well, within the pit that they were, there was an engineer who was given parts to tinker with to help make weapons for the inmates to please Abba and Kato with their fighting. So he would actually work on Frieza's mechanical parts to make it seem more comfortable, easier to fit, and now Frieza can actually use his Ki Blast. And now he can actually use them. So Frieza's getting better and better, and as he's resting, he is getting stronger and stronger again. So, when the time does come, this is when we would have Frieza step up, and they would defeat the final beast. This is when Appa and Kato, I think, would then start to piece together who this is. They would then confront Frieza personally, asking him who he is, and Frieza would not lie. He would explain who he is, and that they have taken his place, which is not the right thing. Appa and Kato would, of course, laugh at Frieza, and then this is when the fight would then begin. As Frieza would be able to hold his own pretty well. He does have all of his power back. He can't exactly go 100% because it buffs him up in size, and he can't do that. But he doesn't need it since the mechanical parts help him. Frieza was getting overwhelmed though, until he was able to make Appa and Kato then do the fusion move, and they would then fuse into one, becoming this hulking monster. Now with this, Frieza would get overwhelmed easily, as Appa and Kato fused together were too strong. They were above Frieza at this point, and Frieza was getting beaten down badly. But then, this is when we would see Chi-Lai actually step in front of Frieza and almost give her life for Frieza, as Frieza, they consider them family, because they were basically there together, and which sounds a little weird, but that is how it is. They're basically like a brotherhood. They're all together. They're a team. And then Frieza would see Chi-Lai slapped to the side, and she was nearly killed alongside with Lemo, nearly. This would then make Frieza angry. Frieza would then begin to use his mutation. And with this mutation, he would then begin to bulk in size. Now, his mechanical parts won't really change much, but the flesh part will. And with this, Appa and Kato would actually shoot a humongous supernova-like attack right at Frieza, destroying most of the Colosseum, as Frieza's mechanical parts would then begin to fall apart because of his mutation. Frieza would then fire his own blast attack with his one good arm, hitting it as it was a massive beam struggle. Frieza would then remember everything, and that for the first time, he was fighting for something other than himself. Frieza feels this new force of motivation as he would be able to push the attack back, fully giving into his mutation. Now he's in his 5th form, but it does destroy his mechanical parts because now he grew in size. But it was enough power to then completely incinerate the blast, hitting Appa and Kato, defeating them, killing the two. Frieza would then fall down in pieces as he was badly wounded because his mechanical parts basically just exploded, and Frieza would then go unconscious. Frieza would then wake up in Appa and Kato's palace, or I should say scrap palace, where he was pieced back together again, this time with way more advanced mechanical parts. And they did figure out who Frieza was. Now Chi-Lai and Lemo were alive, which relieved Frieza. This is when we would have King Cold arrive. King Cold was the one who actually helped Frieza give him the best mechanical parts. So he does look very similar to Mecha Frieza now, as now he has the best mechanical parts. And these mechanical parts can extend and grow with his body. So he can go into his true form if he really wants to. But now when Frieza does awaken, and he was actually a little bit relieved that Chi-Lai and Lemo were actually alive, he would then see his father. And of course King Cold was praising Frieza, telling him that he knew he could do it. He had to teach him a lesson, that's why he let him stay on this planet and let Appa and Kato stay and fight him. Frieza would actually kind of smile a little bit at his father. And he would tell him, you know, father, I understand completely. And then, this is when we would have Frieza fire a death beam right through King Cold's chest, as he wasn't expecting this. His guard was down. King Cold would then collapse and cough up blood, stating, why you would betray me. Frieza would explain that I am the real emperor of the universe, and you betrayed me, and you hurt my friends as well, thinking that is some game. This is when Frieza would then cut off King Cold's head, killing him, thus making him the new emperor of the universe once again. Now when Berry Blue does meet up with Frieza, she does ask him, well, my lord, what do you want to do now? Frieza explains that he's going to change some things. He does want to fight the Super Saiyan again, but he's still terrified of him. But he kind of wants to change some things around.
and he wants Sheila and Lemo's advice. So Sheila and Lemo would basically be at the level of Barry Blue. They would be his advisors, telling him what's right and wrong for the universe. And Frieza would actually change some things. He would not enslave planets anymore, and he's a bit nicer. He's not as completely evil as we originally thought. He does do planet trading, but it's a little bit different. He helps planets become populated, and then he sells them off, and they pay him for him helping them populate the planet, giving them resources, materials, and everything else. So he makes a lot of money. So Frieza's character arc has now been a closed book. Frieza has now gotten his redemption for a little bit. Now Frieza still wants to meet up with the Super Saiyan, but we'll get to that in a moment. As now, what about the android arc? Well, we are now going to jump forward 3 years later. Goku and his friends were still all training, and near the end of it, I think Goku, with the help of Piccolo and the others, would help Raditz be able to turn into a Super Saiyan. And Raditz has gotten much stronger. His power level is easily in the millions. He's really powerful. Goku was way beyond that. So when they do show up to fight Dr. Gero and Android 19, we would then see Goku begin to overwhelm 19 pretty easily. Even in Super Saiyan is overkill at this point. He's already stronger than you'll see in a minute. As unfortunately the heart virus is still taking effect. It's weakening him. He was able to kill Android 19 just in time, but the heart virus would then take effect. Yamcha would then take him away to then take him to Kami's house to then have Goku take the medicine and he can recover. Now Vegeta would still arrive at this time in Super Saiyan, and Dr. Gero I still think would be able to escape. He would still be able to blind everybody, being able to escape barely. And he did fight Piccolo for a brief moment, but he'd be able to escape Piccolo's clutches, and he'd be able to activate 17 and 18. Now, Android 17 and 18 would overpower Dr. Gero and kill him, and they would also bring back Android 16. Now, Trunks would also arrive from his future timeline, and he realizes that he was too late. Now the androids are brought back. Now, when Vegeta and the others try fighting the androids, they're overwhelmed easily. Vegeta gets both of his arms broken, and he gets humbled. Raditz, although is actually at the similar strength of Vegeta at this point, he gets the same treatment. He gets overwhelmed. Same with Trunks. They actually don't kill Krillin, and 18 even flirts with him, as they're not as evil as they may seem. They were defending themselves, of course, and fighting, but they don't kill them. They just leave. Which is perplexing everybody, but now what? And yes, Cell is still there, because from the future timeline, so yeah, Cell's still here. He's still lurking around trying to find his next meal. Now, most of the events would actually go similar. We would still have the events of Vegeta and Trunks going into the Room of Spirit in time to begin their training, and we would still have Piccolo fuse with Kami. Now, they still brought Dende over from Namek, because the Namekians got their new Namek back. That all goes the same. Pretty much everything goes almost the exact same. And when Piccolo fights Android 17, they then realize how much trouble they're in, as Cell would then arrive. Now, when Cell is here, what now? As Cell would still absorb 17, thus becoming second form Cell. With second form Cell, we have a problem because now Tien would be able to stun Cell. 16 and 18 were able to get away. Piccolo was badly wounded, but Vegeta would then arrive. Now, with Vegeta here, Vegeta would then use all of his techniques on Cell, and Cell has no chance against Vegeta. Although Cell is actually slightly stronger than the original because the androids are a little bit stronger, Vegeta is able to hold his own very well, and he's able to overwhelm Cell. But Cell plays with Vegeta's pride, and he gets him cocky. We all know how this goes. Vegeta does one of the dumbest mistakes we've ever seen in Dragon Ball history. He allows Cell to absorb Android 18, and then we know how this goes. He becomes Perfect Cell, and with Perfect Cell now in full effect, he overwhelms Vegeta with absolute ease. And now because of this, Goku would finally start to recover from the heart virus. He would still host the Cell games. Now that Goku is fully recovered, he knows that he can fight Cell. He knows he can, but he wants to be sure, and he also wants to train Gohan, so they would take the time that Cell gave them, and they would then train in the Room of Spirit in time. Goku and his son would begin training together, and then same with the others. As with Raditz, he'd probably train with Piccolo, since Piccolo can go in there no issue, and he doesn't really even need food at all. He can just drink water, so they're fine. So Raditz and Piccolo would start their training. Vegeta and Trunks would then, or Vegeta would mainly go back in there himself. Goku and Gohan begin their training. Goku would help Gohan unlock Super Saiyan and master it. Goku was also trying to help Gohan unlock Super Saiyan 2, which he knows that Gohan can. Now, these two training together with their busted potential is kind of ridiculous with how strong they are. But I think what we'll see here is once when they do step out, Goku's very confident that they can fight Cell. So when the Cell games does begin, what now? Well, I think Goku would then step up first, as he mainly wants to fight Cell, and then he wants Gohan to fight Cell as well, as he is confident that they can win. Now, when Goku does fight Perfect Cell, as a Super Saiyan, he's already stronger than Perfect Cell at this point, which, I mean, guys, that doesn't seem too far-fetched because of how strong Goku's potential is. Cell is struggling to keep up with Goku. This is when Goku would then fire a full power blast and nearly kill Cell. Goku would then look to Gohan, and he says, Gohan, do you want to turn? Of course, Cell's not going to listen to that, and Cell's not going to let Goku do that because he wants to finish fighting him. Now, Goku knows he needs to end this soon, because if Cell becomes desperate, he could do something daring, like go up the planet, because he saw that when Gohan was messing around with Cell. Goku would then charge up to a Super Saiyan 2 as Cell tries to beam clash him with his Solar Kamehameha Wave. His blast of Super Saiyan 2 is way above Cell. It would overwhelm him and completely incinerate Cell, leaving no trace of Cell left behind, and Cell was completely wiped out. There is no trace of Cell. He's gone. And that would end the Cell arc pretty fast. I mean, Cell would have no chance. This version of Goku is just too strong. And now that all the smoke was then cleared away, we would then have somebody else arrive. As then, it was Frieza's spaceships would then land. And Frieza would then walk out, looking a little bit different actually. Frieza actually has organic legs, and his body seems back to normal. But he does have scars where the organic limbs were reattached. Bad scars are all still there. And Goku was worried because he was surprised that Frieza was alive. He didn't know that. Now, when Frieza does step out, everybody's probably on edge. They just fought Cell. Goku's a little tired after fighting Cell, but he's ready to fight Frieza. He can sense just how strong Frieza is as well, because Frieza's been training for a little bit. Frieza actually slightly trains here and there, as he wants to try and keep up with Goku. Frieza here would then tell Goku that he needs to have a little rematch. He says, you kind of left me halfway dead on Namek, but I kind of want my rematch. Goku would never turn down a fight, and he explains, are you here to try to blow up Earth? And Frieza says, oh, good heavens, no. I'm not here to blow up your planet. I just want to have my rematch with just you. I don't want to hurt nobody else. Which Goku can sense that Frieza's energy is not as evil as originally was. He seems a lot more passive. Still a bad person, but he seems a lot more... He doesn't seem as heartless. He seems like Piccolo a little bit. Not as heartless. Frieza says that you have my word, that my only intention is to just fight you. And Goku would of course accept it. Now Goku was a little bit tired after fighting Cell, now mind you, but he still will accept it. Now Frieza's been training. Frieza would then remove his cloak, showing off his horrendous scars that he has, but he has his organic limbs back because of the new technology that they have to regrow tissue. Frieza explains that I was once in jumbled pieces on a scrap planet, but now I've been training a little bit, and now I'm stronger than ever. And so, the two would actually begin their fight. Now, before the fight would begin, Goku was getting tired. Piccolo would then throw a sensu bean to Goku, so Goku eats it, thus he gets to his full strength. Then now it's even. Frieza's been wanting this. Frieza says, all I want to do is just fight you again. That's all I want. I don't care about your planet. I don't care about your friends. I just want to have a rematch. Now, during their fight was intense, as Frieza has gotten way stronger. Now, mind you, Frieza's potential's OP. We all know this. He trained for 3 months and became Golden Frieza. I'm not going to do that here, as that's just ridiculous. And also, too, Frieza had many more years in Hell to kind of grow his power. That was the whole point, because Frieza had a lot of potential to use. This Frieza has been training, and he has gotten much stronger. He went from being really weak to now being as strong as Super Saiyan 2 Goku, if not a little bit stronger. And this Super Saiyan 2 version of Goku is as strong as Goku and Vegeta was when they were fighting each other as with Majin and Vegeta. That's ridiculous with how strong Frieza got in such a short time of training. That's ridiculous. So the fight was very intense between the two, and it was almost dead even. And Goku explains while he was badly wounded, his top G was torn off, Frieza was badly wounded as well. And Frieza was also in his 5th form, so he was at his full power. Goku would explain why. Is this what you wanted, Frieza? Just revenge to beat me? And Frieza says, no, this is more about revenge. This is so I can move on. And Frieza says, every time when I close my eyes, all I see is you staring at me. Your evil eyes. You're a monster who tore me apart. And Frieza says, I have to beat you so I can move on with myself. And Goku can understand this, so they would continue boxing each other up. They would actually end with Goku losing. Frieza was not going at his full strength. He was holding back. When Frieza in his 5th form goes into his full power, he overwhelms Goku and actually defeats him in a one-on-one. Now the Z Fighters are all worried because even though Frieza's tired, he can defeat all of them. The only one he would have a big problem with was Gohan, but he knows he can beat him. Now, what does Frieza do? And Frieza would then grab Goku and he would almost aim a death beam right at his face, and he tells the Z Fighters and Goku that if he wants to, could he go back to his old ways and just kill them all? End everything? End the Saiyan race once and for all? He would then drop Goku and say, no, that's not who I am anymore. Because of you, I was able to find out the corruption of my empire and become even stronger. He would actually take Goku's hand and help Goku up. And he actually thanked Goku for what he did. He said that I needed what you did to me. Because now, not only am I stronger, my rule over the universe is much better. And Frieza would then switch his tail around as he explains that let's hope that next time when we meet, you'll become strong enough to face me against Saiyan. Because I wouldn't mind fighting you again. And Frieza would leave. That's it. Frieza showed up to beat Goku so he can defeat his past. So Frieza can now move on. And Sheila and Lemma were proud of Frieza. They're his best friends. They're proud of him. Frieza would then take his leave. And Goku, they were worried that Goku was upset or something. Goku was smiling. Goku was excited. Fighting Frieza got him hyped. Goku even said himself that if Frieza wasn't rotten to the core, he would be a perfect sparring partner, a perfect person to fight all the time. And now Goku has motivation for the next couple of years to now train and get stronger. So now they have 7 years in the future would be a peace. Goku is training, getting stronger. Frieza's rule of the universe is actually slowly changing over time to be more peaceful, not as evil and cruel and slaving like. It's more peaceful. He's even being cool with the Galactic Patrol, who kind of drops the bounty on Frieza. As long as he kind of stays pretty clean, he'll be fine. Goku has lost against the mighty Frieza, but Frieza would spare Goku, and he only did this so he can grow past his trauma that he had of the Super Saiyan. And then Frieza would then go back to living his life, doing the universe how he wishes. But it is a lot better. Frieza's changed a lot. But now, of course, we're going to get back to the main cast, as now we are going to focus on Goku. As during the 7 years, there has been peace. Since Goku never technically went to the other world, would he learn about the fusion dance? Would he learn about Super Saiyan 3? The fusion dance is up in the air. I don't think that he would. And the reason why is because why would he have a reason to go to the other world? He was dead. That's the only reason why he was able to learn it. But I do think that Super Saiyan 3, he would be able to learn. Being naturally so gifted, these 7 years, we would really see Goku's power grow. Goku would become extraordinarily powerful over these 7 years, and he also has a training partner, Vegeta. Since Vegeta is also around, and he knows that Goku's alive, in the original, Vegeta was so angry because Goku was dead. Vegeta thinks that he could never have a chance to fight him again and reclaim his honor back. But now that he can fight Kakarot whenever he wants, this Vegeta's not as spiteful and evil as he was in the start of the Buu saga, as Vegeta does not feel like he's losing himself. He's comfortable and he's happy where he is. He's happy that he has a family to call his own. So he is a bit more mature in that sense because Goku is around. And even the likes of Raditz has got a lot of character development as well. Raditz has married Launch, and they have their own kid by the name of Ranch. And they're very happy. So peace is finally on Earth, and everything's back to normal. Goku would still meet up with his friends for the World Martial Arts Tournament. This is where some changes are going to occur. What about Gohan? Well, Gohan for the 7 years originally, since Goku was not around, Gohan thought there was peace, so he never really trained as much, so Gohan was not as powerful as he originally should have been. He should have been way stronger. Even Vegeta mocked Gohan for that, since Gohan gotten so weak. He was actually weaker than he was when he fought Cell, which is a bit disappointing. But since Goku is alive and he's around to push and motivate Gohan, on top of Gohan's natural potential, Gohan is actually he's still a bookworm, as Chi-Chi is still kind of enforcing that on Goku, but Gohan is not a slouch. Gohan is actually stronger than his original self by a huge margin, and he didn't get rusty at all, as Goku made sure that Gohan kept his training up, and they would have it in Gohan's free time to train and get stronger. And Gohan even stated himself in the Dragon Ball superhero movie that he only needs to train every now and again so he doesn't get rusty. And that's even what Piccolo said as well. Now imagine that version of Gohan with even more potential. So Gohan can definitely do this. Now, what about Piccolo and the others? Well, the Earthlings are still pushing themselves to get stronger. I feel like Yamcha would still kind of take a step back and he would do his baseball career like he originally was because he's the greatest of all time. Tien, of course, is doing his own journey, trying to figure out his inner self. As for Krillin is of course with Android 18, and he is continuing to get stronger and to push himself further than ever, as he wants to try to keep up with his buddy Goku, but he knows that Goku is just a natural monster prodigy, but he will do everything he can to keep up with his best friend. As Krillin is very happy though. As 7 years have now passed, they would all arrive for the World Martial Arts Tournament. Now Gohan is still the Golden Warrior / the Great Saiyan Man, because he still was the Golden Warrior when he stopped those men, and this is when he also met Videl, who was able to piece together that Gohan was the Golden Warrior / the Great Saiyan Man. And because of this, Gohan would still have Videl, and they would still start to like each other. Now Videl would still be severely injured because of Spopovich, who would overpower Videl because of his Majin powers. Spopovich actually has a lot of bad history. He actually fought Hercule originally, and that is how Hercule won his World Martial Arts Tournament. He became the champion. He actually defeated Spopovich on his own. But Spopovich has now been taken over by Babidi's mind control, and he's now stronger than ever. And even the likes of Yamu is also stronger as well, as it appears that Babidi's mind control magic also increases the user's power to their limits, making them even stronger. Videl unfortunately did put up a valiant fight. She was not able to beat Spopovich, who was too powerful, and he almost tortured her in the match. This would make Gohan furious, as Gohan would then fly out, but they would then stop it, and Gohan would then take Videl and give her a senzu bean so she's all better. We would then have Kibito. Now Kibito is a Kai, a mystical being. Same with the Supreme Kai, who is the Kai of all Kais. He's a being of creation. Now he's here because they have an issue. Majin Buu and Babidi, who is an evil wizard. And he explains to Goku and his friends that whatever happens here, do not get in the way of what happens between Gohan and the Kibito Kai. So when Kibito sees Gohan's full strength, Gohan would explain, I can go Super Saiyan, I can take it up to the next level. Gohan would go Super Saiyan, then go Super Saiyan 2. Now Gohan's strength is so abnormally high that Spopovich and Yamu see this as their chance. They would then attack Gohan, and the Supreme Kai would purposely make Gohan have his energy be taken. And Gohan's energy would then be zapped away, as that would be enough for them to run off back to Babidi. This was Supreme Kai's whole point though, as they said that they will now follow the two men to Babidi's ship. As the Supreme Kai states that they would then follow the two men to Babidi's ship. Now as Spopovich and Yamu do arrive, Babidi has enough energy to actually revitalize Majin Buu. And he has no use for Spopovich and Yamu. He would then kill them both with his magic. Now he would then start giving Buu the energy, but it will take some time. But they would just hide in the bottom of his ship and use this as a distraction, as the Dorio will be sure to guard Babidi in case Buu is born. So they would all still arrive. It would mainly be Goku, Gohan, Vegeta, Raditz, and the Supreme Kai. And Piccolo and the others would have followed along, but they're staying back as they would then all enter inside the ship. Now Babidi is worried because the energy conversion is taking a while. He needs to distract them, but luckily Pui Pui and Yakan are there, and Dabura is the final walk, so they should be able to have enough time. So the same events would happen where Vegeta would easily defeat Pui Pui, and Goku would defeat Yakan. And it would actually be a bit easier for Goku. He just has to burst his base power, and Yakan would have imploded. He would have died. Now, Dabura is the final defense, as Babidi has a way to try and slow them down. This is when Babidi would then use his own magic to attack Raditz, and Vegeta. Vegeta and Raditz would then fall over in agony as Babidi was trying to take over their minds. Because they do have a tainted heart, they do have some evil in them. This is when we would see Vegeta and Raditz both turn Super Saiyan, as the Supreme Kai was telling them to defeat the control, do not let it control them, and working together, they were able to get rid of the control. But that was the short extra minute that Babidi needed, as now he teleported them outside of his ship as Buu was now fully revitalized and Majin Buu was born. And of course, we all know who it is. It's Fat Buu. As Fat Buu was extremely happy and giddy. He was like a naughty child. He didn't know any better. He was actually kind of good, but he can be sinister when he needs to be. But now, of course, Babidi was not expecting to be so fat. That's not the Buu he remembers, is it? Did he gain a lot of weight while he was in there? As Babidi's sitting there pondering, we would then see Buu's power as he annihilates Dabura in their matchup. He overwhelms him and he turns him into candy and he eats him, gaining his strength as well. So Buu gets even stronger, but carry on. As then, Babidi would then tell Buu to attack these men and get rid of them. Now, who wants to step up first to fight Buu? I think he'll be Vegeta. I think Vegeta is in a bad mood since the whole thing was ruined because Vegeta was going to fight Goku during the tournament. And he hasn't fought Goku in a little while, so he kind of wants his little rematch, but he'll kill this fat pink creature and then they'll get on their way. When Vegeta does go Super Saiyan, he does fight Fat Buu, and Goku warns Vegeta on how Buu is hiding his real power. He's stronger than he looks. So when Vegeta does fight Buu, the fight is pretty well intense. Vegeta is roughly the same strength as he originally was. It wouldn't make much sense why he would be different, as Goku is around. And Vegeta would then go Super Saiyan 2, but Buu was just toying with him. Every attack that he did throw at Majin Buu would just brush off like it was nothing. Buu's not trying. And this would make Vegeta angry, so Vegeta would continuously attack Majin Buu with everything that he has, but again, it's not enough to beat Buu. Buu is just way too powerful. Buu would then overwhelm Vegeta, and this is when I think Raditz would then cut in as a Super Saiyan 2 as well. Raditz, I think, would be able to reach this, and the two would then tag Team Buu, and they would actually do much better, but Vegeta's already injured. Buu would then be tired of this. This is when I think we would see Buu get really irritated because of the two. He would then do his big Buu explosion, which would blow everybody back except Goku. Goku was standing right there, and he actually saved Vegeta and Raditz's life. Goku says that he'll take it from here and he'll fight Buu himself. So him and Buu would then fly into the air and they will start their matchup. Now Goku is way more lit enough to be able to defeat Majin Buu. That's not even a competition. Even though Majin Buu was absurdly strong, this is before he split into Evil Buu and then became Super Buu. When he split with Evil Buu, he became considerably weaker. He lost by half his strength, but that doesn't matter because Majin Buu is still absurdly OP. He was a busted monster in this set. As unfortunately, against Goku, he has a bad time. Goku, even in his base form, is matching up with Majin Buu. Now, Goku's been keeping his real power hidden. He's kind of wanted to save it when he fights Vegeta and the others again, but he doesn't have much of a choice now. So he would then power up into a Super Saiyan, and he would absolutely annihilate Fat Buu, as they have no chance together. No matter what Buu did, he couldn't match Goku's strength, and Babidi was terrified. Now, during this time, Babidi would actually be killed by either Piccolo or Vegeta or the others, blasted away, so they got rid of that problem. Or it could have even been a Supreme Kai as well, would have been funny. Now, Goku would spare Fat Buu, as he explains that Fat Buu's not really evil. He just doesn't know any better. And so, he would let Fat Buu go, much to everybody's dismay. Now, the same events for Fat Buu would happen the same, to where Fat Buu would still make his home, he would cure a blind kid, and he would also meet the legendary man himself, Mr. Satan, the world champ. Now, Mr. Satan, of course, is a scandal. He's actually been lying about his victories for all these years, cheating his way through. But of course, that's not really the case. We all know that he's the most powerful being in all of creation. No one can match his power. Even Zeno shakes when that man walks through because of his massive aura. But either way, Mr. Satan would still meet up with Buu, and he would have a few funny attempts at trying to kill him, but it wouldn't work, and they would actually become best friends. Now, for a mere mortal to become best friends with one of the most powerful beings in the universe is actually really impressive. And now, of course, this is when the sad scene would happen, as there were assassins nearby. Now, these assassins / hitmen, they would actually shoot Hercule, badly wounding him, and they would also shoot Bee the puppy. This would make Buu nearly snap as he goes over the edge. Buu would then split into two. The evil would then leave the good. This is when we have Evil Buu. Now with Evil Buu, the two would then have their matchup. And unfortunately for Fat Buu, even though he is absurdly strong, the evil was too strong and he was overwhelmed Buu. Buu would try out his candy beam on him, but he would then blow the beam back at him. Buu would inadvertently turn himself into a piece of chocolate. This is when Super Buu would then eat him, absorbing his power, thus becoming Super Buu. Now Super Buu was different. He was evil, malicious, didn't care. Now of course he wants to fight Goku again. He wants to fight that strong guy, aka Goku, as he has a rematch with him. And so because of this, this is when we would have Super Buu going to find Goku. By killing innocent people, Goku would see what happens, and he could sense the different power. He would then meet up with Super Buu to fight him. Now Super Buu is excited because he wants to have his rematch with Goku. He has a bone to pick with him. And now of course Goku is of course excited, as he is a little bit worried where did Fat Buu go, but he is also excited because he senses how much stronger Super Buu is than Fat Buu. This could be interesting. So Goku would then go Super Saiyan, once again going to his full power. He would actually be able to match Super Buu pretty okay, as Super Buu does have more abilities, but now Super Buu's not an idiot. He's very intelligent and he knows what he wants to do. Now, Major Dragon, what do you mean? Well, we'll get to this in just a moment. As Goku is fighting Super Buu, this is going to become a problem because, unfortunately, Super Buu has been planning something all along. He would then tell Goku that he's not all tough. He wants to see Goku's full power. He wants to see it. Goku would then give it to him. Goku would then go Super Saiyan 3. And with this power, at his full strength, is stronger than the likes of Vegeta easily. He's way stronger than Vegeta. This shows you how strong Goku is. Now, what are they going to do? As Super Buu has been waiting for this moment for a while. Uh-oh. Because then some of his antenna that was missing would then absorb Goku. Goku didn't have time as his guard was dropped. That's a bad mistake that Goku has. He drops his guard. Goku would then be absorbed by Super Buu. And now that Super Buu has absorbed Goku, he now has Goku's clothing. His power is unlike anything they've ever seen. He's stronger than the likes of Vegeta, for goodness sakes. What are they going to do? How can they stop something like that? So Buu would then take his time, as he's now cocky. He knows that he can just beat whoever. As this is basically Buu Goku? Boku? I guess you call it Boku if you want. But realistically, Buu is now way too powerful. Vegeta and the others are easily slapped to the side. There's nothing that he can do. There's nothing that none of them can do. Vegeta, even as Super Saiyan 2 with Raditz, and even Gohan at his full power, cannot match that being's strength. Gohan would nearly die against this version of Buu, as Supreme Kai would then save his life. Now, back on Kami's lookout, we would then have Krillin and the others, as they're now scared on what to do. Because, again, what are they going to do? Goku was absorbed. No one can beat Goku. As Krillin would then have an idea. It might be stupid, but it's an idea. He asks Dende, can we use the Dragon Balls right now? I have an idea. It might be stupid, but I have an idea. Now, whoa, Major Dragon, what are you about to do? Well, Krillin is actually not as weak as some people may think that he is. Now, of course, he is not to the levels of Goku and the others, but in terms of base form, Krillin at his full strength is almost comparable to Goku and the others in base form. Of course, they defeat him by, of course, having these incredible transformations. Krillin cannot match this, but Krillin does have one idea. Maybe it could work? Maybe? And Dende says we don't really have a choice, so Dende would then summon Shenron. Now, Boku, I guess you could say just Super Buu, let's just still call him Super Buu, would be easier, but just Super Buu would then notice this. He would then still have the instant transmission ability, but by the time that he prepares and uses it, it was too late, as Krillin just said his wish. As then the dragon would then dissipate and fly off. As Super Buu would then arrive, he would then ask Krillin, saying, oh, what did you just make? What wish did you just do? Krillin would then smirk, as Krillin says he needed a helping hand from Shenron. And this is when Krillin would then begin to power up. Krillin's power would then skyrocket as Krillin's 6 little dots on his head would then glow a certain reddish color. As his eyes would then turn a more reddish. Krillin, what did he wish for? Krillin's power was incredible. All of his inner potential has been unlocked. Krillin has been training near death for years, training under Roshi again and all the other masters, even training with Tien and the others, even training in the room of spirit and time for years. But there's a problem. He reached his wall, his limit, a human limit, a limit that he just couldn't get past, no matter how hard he tried. So all this potential has been pooling up inside of him constantly, as every human has a limit. They can only get so strong. A Saiyan is different. A Saiyan is able to break their limits. Even when they're pushed up against the wall, they're able to break past it each time. Humans have a limiter. But Krillin, with this wish, has removed it, and now his strength is unlike anything they've ever seen. Krillin in this new form is his potential unleashed Krillin. Krillin would then save his friend. He knows that Goku's in there, and he will save his friend's life. So Krillin would then charge in and actually deliver a powerful kick to Super Buu, which would knock Super Buu back, and the two would then go at it. It was a very intense fight. Now they were about dead even with each other, as Krillin was struggling to keep up with Buu, because Buu would then use his full power, shaking the entire universe with his strength. As Krillin was doing everything that he can, all of his abilities, Buu would try to absorb him, but he would miss. This is when Buu would then fire a massive attack and overwhelm Krillin, as everybody watches in horror, as Krillin would then fall below the broken Kami lookout now as it's shattered because of their fight. Something would then snap within Krillin, as Shenron gave him a little extra with that wish. Krillin would then rise back up with all of this red and orange power around him. Krillin would then have a new set of clothing as well, as Krillin's eyes have changed. His liners of his eyes are different. Everything's different about Krillin. He looks different. Krillin has ascended even further. And Krillin would then look at his hands and he would smirk, saying, wow, Shenron went that extra way with the wish. He would give me a bit of extra. Thank you, Shenron. As Super Buu was shocked with how strong Krillin has become, he pushed his limit even further, and this was his true power that Shenron helped him unlock. This was his true form. Krillin with this power would overwhelm Super Buu, and he was doing this on purpose. He was giving him the Vegeta treatment. Whatever Super Buu would try, Krillin would actually outmatch him. Until Buu would then absorb Krillin. Now Krillin would form a ki barrier around himself in time, and then he would begin searching through Buu's body, battling some weird worm creatures or whatever, and he would finally find Goku and the others. Now Super Buu would try to stop him. Of course, it wouldn't turn out too well. He would be able to free Goku, reverting Super Buu back to normal. Now that Goku was then free, he would also see Fat Buu. He knows that Fat Buu is good. Buu would beg him not to do it, but Krillin would do it anyway, and he would remove Fat Buu as well, thus saving the two and freeing himself. As Goku and the others were still unconscious for a short while, in these strange pink cocoons. Now, of course, Buu was in utter agony as something was happening. He was changing as Krillin watched. This is when he would then transform into Kid Buu, and Kid Buu would look directly at Krillin, and he would form a massive ki ball to try and destroy the whole planet just because he felt like it. Now, of course, Krillin would then stop it. He notes on how this version of Buu is weaker than the other one, but he's more violent. Krillin knows that now he has to destroy him. Krillin would start his fight with Kid Buu, who does fight very unpredictable, but Krillin's way too powerful. Krillin would overwhelm this version of Majin Buu, aka Kid Buu has no chance, and Krillin would then use a massive ki blast, completely incinerating Kid Buu, leaving no trace of him left. And now that the smoke settled, the world was now brought back at peace, and everything was normal again. People were happy. Krillin actually saved the day. It wasn't Goku this time. W for Krillin in the comment section below. Krillin is technically the most powerful character as of right now. But now, of course, Goku and the others were really proud of Krillin. They were really happy, and peace was finally restored. Now, the events of Dragon Ball Daima would actually go a little bit similar. The only difference is we have a bit more characters, such as Raditz and the others. I think this is when Raditz and Vegeta would unlock Super Saiyan 3. Gohan, I think, would settle down a little bit more, but he still has Super Saiyan 2. Goku, of course, has Super Saiyan 3. Krillin has his potential Unleashed form, which this is when we would have Goku and Krillin teaming up. Goku would unlock Super Saiyan 4, and he would use this alongside with Krillin, as they're both adults now, to overwhelm Goma and defeat him and pretty much end the Demon Realm. So things were brought back to normal. Now, what about the events of Battle of Gods? As Lord Beerus has still awoken with a premonition of a being that could rival his power, a god. But now, of course, Beerus would still awaken and find out that Frieza was actually defeated by a Saiyan. And he was surprised because I thought I asked Frieza to kill them all. They did give me the second most comfortable pillow in the universe, not the first. They lied about it, and I'm a petty cat, so I must have number one. But now, of course, we all know how that goes. He got irritated. Saiyans were eradicated for no reason, really, because he's a petty cat, so oh well. But now, he would then head towards Earth. Goku would not be on King Kai's world. Now, when Goku does see Beerus, I think he does want to fight him first. This is when Beerus, I think, would first enjoy Earth's cuisine. He would enjoy himself, have a good time. I think the scene with Buu would still happen. I think he would get mad because Buu would not trade pudding with him, or Goten and Trunks would then smack the pudding out of his hand by accident with a ball. Either way, Beerus has a breakdown. He kind of has a temper tantrum. And because of this, this is when we would see Goku and the others attack Beerus. Goku has a Super Saiyan 4. Vegeta has a Super Saiyan 3. Raditz has a Super Saiyan 3. Gohan, at bare minimum, at least a Super Saiyan 2. I even think Gohan will probably have his Unleashed form by this point because the Supreme Kai saved him. So Gohan would have his potential Unleashed form. So he's really OP as well. He's actually a little bit stronger than, well, not as strong as Goku, but he's the third strongest, so alongside Goku and Krillin and them. Krillin would have his unlocked form, but Krillin has settled down a little bit more, but he's still keeping up his training. And yeah, so these are big powerhouses, all attacking Beerus at the same time. Now, Beerus is having fun because, of course, they're pretty strong, but they don't have God Ki. And against Beerus, it doesn't matter. If Beerus would defeat every single one of them, he wants to fight a Super Saiyan God. Because of this, they would still use Shenron to make the wish, asking about the Super Saiyan God. This is when we would have, of course, Goku and his friends. They would find out about Yamoshi and more. Goku would then become the Super Saiyan God, I believe. Once he becomes a Super Saiyan God, his match with Beerus will be a little bit different. Goku here, it's been a little bit since the Majin Buu stuff, been a few years. Goku, when he saw how strong Krillin has become, Goku has trained himself harder than he's ever trained, as he wants to become the strongest, of course, and having Krillin there is incredible competition. He knows that he needs to keep getting stronger. So Goku here is way more powerful as a Super Saiyan God. It's not even a competition with how much stronger he is. Especially since Super Saiyan God unlocks a new realm of power for Goku. Goku at 100% power as a Super Saiyan God right now is as strong as he is as a god when he fought in the Tournament of Power, where he was able to even make the likes of Jiren use a finger, which goes to show you how strong Goku was. And Jiren is, of course, stronger than Gods of Destruction. So when he does fight Beerus, he actually overwhelms Beerus initially, as he's actually really impressive. Beerus would, of course, use more of his power. The fight would be very intense between the two. Unfortunately, Goku would then lose the God power, as he can only hold it for so long. And this is when Beerus would then take the win, but he was way more than satisfied with how strong Goku was. He even offers Goku to come train on his world, because he wants to have a rematch. But he was exhausted for the fight, he wants to have another nap. Now, this is when Goku would actually leave to go to Beerus' world. And it would actually be Vegeta and Vegeta and Raditz who would actually kind of beg Whis to bring them along, and it'll be a really funny scene. But now Vegeta and Raditz, they would then leave, heading to Beerus' world a few months later. So Goku has already mastered his god power, as Whis notes on how Goku's different than other Saiyans. His biology is unlike anything he's ever seen before, as he's always wondered. He says that you weren't even born with the tail, from what I remember hearing from you. And your power is different. How you control S cells is way more evolved than a normal Saiyan. It's extraordinary. And so that's how Goku was able to unlock Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue way faster than the original. And so because of this, this will also push Vegeta and Raditz to get stronger. So, over the next few years. Now, what about the events of the Resurrection of F, or the Revenge of Frieza, when Frieza came back in his golden form? Would that happen? Well, maybe. We would then have a few men sneak off to planet Earth. They would still steal the Dragon Balls, and they would make a wish. Now, what wish was this? They wished to bring back King Cold. Now, King Cold was brought back as he kind of was missing his head, but it's okay. They would then use the regeneration system to then bring King Cold back to life and put him back together again. And the ancient emperor was finally back. He was more than furious that his own son, Frieza, has betrayed him. And he had to sit in hell and suffer for all those years, as he knows that his son has gotten stronger, much stronger since then, similar with Goku and the others. This is when he knows that he needs to finally exert himself for the first time, train for the first time, utilize his true potential. And so, he said that 3 months will be more than enough, maybe even more. As 3+ months would then pass, this is when Frieza would then notice a problem. He was with Chi-Lai and his friends. He would then notice on how his father is alive. He found out through inner sources, and this is a problem. As so, Frieza, of course, has been training. He's actually been slightly training here and there, getting stronger, but he's not been training with a motivation to kill or anything, like how he originally is. So, he would then see that King Cold is heading to the one spot, as Frieza would then leave and head towards Earth to warn them about King Cold, as this could be a problem. He tries to find Goku and the others. Now, of course, the Z-Fighters are there. They're not very happy to see Frieza, but Frieza would come in peace, and he explains that we have a bad problem. My father is on his way, and he's way worse than even I am. Goku and the others, of course, are on Beerus' world training, and Bulma would, of course, continue bitching to Whis, explaining on how they need to get here now. Now, King Cold would arrive, and this is when I think he would want to battle his son Frieza, as he needs revenge, and he'll kill the rest of the Saiyans as well, just to get them out of his way. Now, of course, Frieza has done some training, but not too much. He hasn't really had much of a reason. He did defeat Goku, so he's happy. Now, of course, King Cold is still in his second looking form, so he still looks normal. Now, of course, Frieza is in his final form. Frieza would go to fight King Cold, but King Cold is not even trying. He slaps Frieza around the area. Frieza has no chance. King Cold says, if this is your full strength, my son, then you have let me down, and you have my blood in your veins. Frieza would then go into his fifth form, his battle form, and he would continue fighting King Cold. King Cold, of course, clashes with Frieza. This is when King Cold would then reveal his true form. This will be his fourth form, aka his final form. His final form is more of an adult-looking version of Frieza. He's taller. It's more like a more brooder version of Cooler. And he overwhelms Frieza, annihilating him in their matchup. Now Frieza's getting overwhelmed. This is when Goku would actually save Frieza's life. Goku would then cut in and help pick Frieza up and help him. Frieza would, of course, curse at him for, of course, helping him, but he understands, and he explains that my father here is stronger than he's ever been before. I've never seen him this strong. And, of course, Goku would, of course, take this up on challenge. Now, King Cold explains that you're the one who must have originally defeated my son. If that's the case, then I have a bone to pick with you as well. And he even tells the Saiyan that if you want, you can stay out of my way. Let me kill my son here, and then might leave your planet alone. Of course, Goku would say, no, you're not going to hurt Frieza, blah, 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 get off the planet. Of course, we know how this goes. This is when we would have King Cold showcase his new form. King Cold would then go into his golden form, and it was extravagant and beautiful. Now, of course, he decided to do golden just because of plot reasons. You could say that Frieza was defeated by a golden warrior, and King Cold wants to mock Frieza, so he picked a color that Frieza was terrified of, and it was the gold color. So that would be a pretty cool thing to why he actually picked a golden color. Now, Goku would, of course, get serious, and he would go Super Saiyan Blue against King Cold, and the two would clash. It'll be a very intense battle, but one thing about King Cold that he forgot about, even though King Cold does have more potential than even Frieza, against Goku, you got a problem. As now, Goku would easily start to overwhelm King Cold, and King Cold was having a struggle because of his stamina issue. Goku, with the help of his friends, would be able to kill King Cold and defeat him. thus ending King Cold and ending the Masquerade. Now, Frieza would of course thank Goku tremendously for this, and Goku would even offer Frieza to train with him sometime next time, and he can help him get stronger and they can fight again. And Frieza would actually agree, since now he sees that if his father can do it and become that strong, then he can do it as well. So Frieza would actually start training, and then he wants to challenge Goku again as a thank you. So Frieza would actually take his leave. Now, of course, Beerus would let Frieza go because he sees that Frieza is actually doing good for the universe this time. He's not much of a smug dickhead, so he's actually kind of cool about it, and he lets it go. And Frieza is nice to Beerus, so he'll let him go for now. It's fine. But now, of course, what about the other arcs, such as the Goku Black arc and the Universe 6 arc as well? Now, the Universe 6 arc, we can just glaze over that because that would go insanely fast. Because the fact that the Z Fighters are so much stronger, Hit has no chance, and Hit is their best chance that they got. Unfortunately, against Goku and the others, it's a W for Beerus. He would have won, but he still uses the wish to wish Champa's planet back, which is a nice brother thing to do. Now, as for the Goku Black arc, what would happen? Would it still happen? Well, that's potential, as this is still the original Trunks, so realistically, Goku would have still met to go see, the Kai, so it could have all gone similar. Unfortunately for Goku Black and Zamasu, even if they all met up the exact same, when Goku and Vegeta first go there with Trunks to his future timeline, Goku Black would have been killed. Because Vegeta is way more powerful than the original. It's not even funny. Because Vegeta has Goku, who's way stronger than him, and Raditz, who's comparable to him, to train against. When I think Vegeta does fight Goku Black originally stabbed him with his Keyblade and overwhelmed him. That's because Vegeta dropped his guard. I don't think that would happen here because Vegeta's so strong. I think that the sword will still pierce him, but not as deep as it originally did. This would make Vegeta angry. And Vegeta would then grab his hand and he would then transform into a new mode. Vegeta had to find a new power to push himself to keep up with Kakarot. And what form is this? Vegeta would be able to go Blue Evolution, and with his power, he would overwhelm Goku Black, and I think with the Final Flash, he would incinerate him, defeating him. Now this means, of course, that would Goku Black go and meet up with Zamasu? Probably not, but if let's just say that Zamasu was even there, they can just overwhelm him easily. So there are two options. Either number one, Goku still uses the Zeno button because he still met Zeno, became friends with him, and they still met up and played. He still could have used that. Or they can just use the Mafuba technique and seal Zamasu away. And I think that would probably happen. They would probably seal Zamasu away and then throw him in the Infinite Void Dimension, aka the Hyperbolic Time Chamber or something similar. And so if that's the case, then Trunks' timeline is saved and he can stay there and start rebuilding with Mai. So that can all go down the same. And I think Goku would actually stay around. He would stay around and he would actually help Trunks go and find the Namekians to then use the Dragon Balls. And I think they would do this, finding the Namekians and finding the Namekian Dragon Balls, wishing Piccolo and the others back, which also wish their Dragon Balls back. He would then use this to wish everybody back that Goku Black and the androids have killed, thus bringing back almost the whole planet. Bulma's back, everybody else is back. And so the only person that isn't technically there is the future version of Goku, but they're okay with that. And Trunks finally has his timeline that he always wanted, and Gohan even returns and thanks Trunks for all that he did, as Goku and Vegeta and the others go back to their timeline. Now, what about the Tournament of Power? Now, if the Tournament of Power did happen, I think it would go a little bit differently. I think we would see, of course, Goku would still recruit Frieza here, but Frieza's not forced to come or is, it's really dead. He's still alive and he willingly goes, as he does owe it to Goku, so he does leave with him. Now, of course, unfortunately for the rest of the other universes, they have a horrible time, because you have Gohan with Potential Unleashed, Krillin with his Potential Unleashed form, and I think even the other Earthlings, such as even Yamcha and even Tien, even if we don't want to include Yamcha, I think Roshi would do it too. They would wish for their potentials to be unlocked like how Shenron did because they saw Krillin do it. So you would even have Roshi have his own custom form, and even Tien would have his own custom form as well. And they're all absurdly strong together. And you have Gohan as Potential Unleashed form, you have Raditz as a Super Saiyan Blue, you have Vegeta Super Saiyan Blue Evolution, you have Goku as a Super Saiyan Blue, maybe even further. Like, the whole team is so stacked up, it's absolutely ridiculous. And even Piccolo would probably wish for his potential unlocked too, because everyone else is doing it, so why doesn't he do it? So you would have Orange Piccolo too. The whole team is so stacked up, and you also have Golden Frieza, because he wants to take the color that his father mocked him with, and he's even stronger than the original because he's training for longer. He's actually almost keeping up with Goku. The whole team is so stacked up that there's literally nothing that the other universes can do. The only threat is Jiren. But even with Jiren's power, I think we would have Goku overwhelm Jiren. I think Goku would still turn Ultra Instinct for the first time, but I think even that first to even second time of using Ultra Instinct would overwhelm Jiren. But either way, I think Goku would still tap into Ultra Instinct for the first time, and he would overwhelm Jiren, and they would be knocked out of the ring. Kefla and the others are knocked out. None of them have a chance. Universe 7 easily takes the win, and peace is finally restored. Now, as for the Broly movie, the one difference that I can see here is Shinlan Lemma would still meet Paragus and Broly, as they were sent out to go explore new planets under Frieza's rule. Now, Frieza does not use Broly to go after Goku. He actually would kind of make Broly like his right-hand man, and he knows that it'll be better for Broly to be around other Saiyans to help his power, and Goku's the best person for that. So he does offer Broly to work for him until he learns how to control his energy, go work with Goku for a little while. And that's what happened. And Shinlan Lemma would then leave Frieza to then go with Broly to Beerus' world, where he would meet up with Goku and the others. And I think this is when they would have a pretty cool fight. Broly would lose, of course, he's not losing control. Now, Paragus, there are two ways this could go with Paragus. Number one, he listens to Frieza, and Frieza tells him to move on, or else he'll kill him. Or Paragus would actually come with Broly to Beerus' world, and Beerus would then threaten Paragus to let that stuff go about Vegeta, and Paragus would then listen, so they don't have a choice. So either way, Broly does have a good life, and when Broly learns how to control his strength, he would then be able to go back to Frieza. Now, of course, Frieza, I think he kept doing his usual thing. It would be cool if he does unlock his Black Frieza form, which I think would be cool, and I think that since he is training so much, he might be able to unlock it. But again, he's not evil. So the Granola arc, would it still happen? Yes, because Frieza's still around. And I don't think that Frieza would kill Granola. I think he would try to reason with Granola and try to not turn him on the bad side. And if that works, then Granola actually becomes a good guy. If it doesn't, Granola will still make his wish. Goku and Vegeta, I think, would still stop him. This is when I think Frieza would actually show up near the end, and he would actually save them from Gas. As Gas would still make the wish, Frieza found a room of spirit and time where he goes in there to get stronger. This is when Frieza has his new black form, and he defeats Gas easily. And with this power, Frieza could have easily killed Goku and Vegeta if he wanted to, but he doesn't. He actually helps him up, and he actually thanks him. And Goku wants to fight Frieza again sometime for sure, and Frieza would then take his leave as he has a universe to start ruling over again. Then that's it. As for the Moro arc, mind you, I know we should go to the Moro arc. The Moro arc would go pretty much the same. The only difference is Moro's in deeper trouble. Goku would be able to master Ultra Instinct by this point with the help of Beerus and the others. He would overwhelm Moro and defeat him in their matchup. And other than that, other than the superhero movie, the superhero movie would end a lot faster. Gohan would unlock Beast form, I still believe. Piccolo still had his orange form. The Earthlings are not as useless because Krillin could help out in his potential unleashed form as well. And Pan is protected, so everything's good. And any other event that happens is pretty much a landslide for the rest of the crew, as they're all too powerful. And that is it for this What If series, you guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think down below about this What If series. I'm glad you guys have enjoyed it so much. I've had a lot of fun making it, making whole new stories and everything else. I know that the ending was a bit more of like a kind of like a glaze over the other arcs, but it's because a lot of it would kind of go similar. It would just end a lot faster because the cast is so much stronger. And I did want to make Krillin the W hero from the final part. Add some more characters to have fun, because a lot of you guys have been begging some of the other characters to have some love. And that's what I'm going to start doing, since I can't really do other what ifs other than Goku what ifs for now, but I can still include more of the Earthling characters in a Goku what if, which is what I'm going to do. So everyone is happy. My channel and the YouTube algorithm is happy with me, so I can still make videos and get good revenue so I can continue doing what I'm doing. And my fan base is happy because it's what you guys wanted. So everybody's happy. But anyway, thank you all so much for the support. I really do appreciate it. You guys are the absolute best. Let's get to 50,000 subscribers, and I'll talk to you all in the next one. Peace.